But just as they were about to spring, a larger wolf cracked underbrush. A patch of white fur gleamed on his chest. It was Blaze. He threw himself between Buddy and the wolves and warned them off. There was no now, though, and both of them attacked Blaze. King was buried deep in the snow outside the lodge where his master was sleeping. Still, the sound of the battle reached him, and he jumped to his feet, searching the breeze with his nose. There were wolves up there on the wooded slope. There was also a man, a boy. It was the boy who lived on top of the mountain. King threw himself against the door of the lodge, barking a demand for the sergeant's attention.
What's the matter, King? Sounds like wolves to me, fella, but I'll follow if you insist.
King routed the other dogs out of their front of the cabin, dressed for the trail. They were lined up in front of the sled.
Leave the sled, do we?
To harness the team.
Up front, boy. On King!
King was allowed to run free as a loose lead, and he charged up the trail ahead of the team.
Preston to show
By
up.
the
The
time he
kid's
reached
gone
the
off
turn
to
where Buddy
skis
still
to
lay
go get
unconscious on the
Preston.
ground, two other wolves had joined the attack on Blaze.
Defending him against the wolves.
Blaze's strength was ebbing fast of the helpless boy. Whirling and slashing, driving the snarling brutes back. As the sergeant drove up, he fired over their heads. Then they turned tail and ran. But Blaze didn't run. He crouched beside Buddy and looked up into the sergeant's face, asking him with his eyes to help the boy.
Dogs come from following
You'll be all right, Blaze.
That's who feeds them.
Yes, buddy.
That's Blaze.
I think he saved your life. Wait till I take your skis off. What are you doing here this time of night?
That's something for you. She said it was life and death.
Huh? What happened?
I don't know. That's all she said.
Well, I'll put you on the sled and cover you up, well? There. Hey, King.
She's pretending to be
I
somebody.
better harness you for the uphill.
Otherwise,
pull.
this guy's got
Hey,
her
boy.
blackmailed
That
about
was it.
some murder he
All set,
committed.
buddy?
I'm fine.
On, King! On, you husky!
Sergeant, Blaze is following us.
Yes, he's going to make sure you're taken care of. Faster, King!
Yeah, because he doesn't know who the fuck you are. Who the fuck's this guy?
After Buddy left the camp, Anne sat by the window in her darkened cabin, waiting for him to return with the sergeant. Suddenly, a light showed in Adam's cabin.
Cooper said when he can't sleep that he may be going to the mine now. I've got to stop him.
My dear,
Please.
what's the matter? Are you afraid? The wolves?
No, I'm not afraid of the wolves. I'm afraid of a man. Rex Cooper is planning to kill him.
Beth, you've been having a bad dream. You don't know what you're saying.
Yes, I do. And I'm not Beth.
Huh?
Cooper hired me to come up here and pretend I was your niece. My name is Ann Merrill. I've been singing at the El Dorado in Skagway.
Cooper hired you? Why should he do a thing like that?
Because he means to kill you. Your life is in danger. I'm ready to make a full confession as soon as Sergeant Preston gets here. But I saw the light in the window and I was afraid you might be going to the mine.
I was. The shoring in one of the tunnels is
Stay
weak.
here. That's all I ask. Stay here until the sergeant
Sure,
arrives
one
and
of
then
the
we...
tunnels is weak.
Well, a charming domestic scene.
Why the gun, Cooper?
Don't raise your voice, either of you. How much have you told the man?
Ann, my name is Beth.
You've been talking too much. I can see it in your face. That's too bad. You probably told him everything.
She told me enough,
I thought so.
but I didn't believe a word of it until I saw that gun in your hand. Just why do you want to kill me?
The plan's been spoiled. Ann and I were to share your mine after you died.
He didn't tell me what he planned to do until tonight. Beth is dead, Mr. Churchill. How she died, I don't know. Down in Skagway, Cooper told me it was pneumonia. He wanted me to come up here to... Oh, it sounds fantastic. To keep you from learning the truth about Beth, to save you from the shock. And tonight he told me she'd been murdered, and that I'd been framed for it. He threatened to turn me over to the police unless I took orders from him. Oh, Mr. Churchill, I swear that I didn't have anything to do with any killing. I don't know whether your niece is dead or not. I only know that this man is stark staring mad.
That's enough.
He said there'd be an accident in the mine. I had to keep you from going
They're
there.
both going there.
You mean to kill us both?
Yes, tonight.
You're crazy.
There's to be an accident, a cave-in.
What can you possibly gain from our deaths?
After you've gone, I'll find a will, Mr. Churchill. The Polar Star will be left to me. Now, I've wasted enough time. Get moving. We're headed for the mine.
The sergeant stopped his team in front of Ann's cabin.
Okay, that's the second thing on her.
Up and Adam Ants. You remember Adam Ants?
So anxious, you think she'd be waiting up.
Yeah, boy.
That's from
The
a
light in
different
Adam's
time.
cabin. She may be over there, but we'll knock here first. Beth? No one in here. Come on, King.
The sergeant hurried across to Adam's cabin and looked in the window.
Empty.
Her first tracks in the snow.
Heading for the mine.
Seem to be.
Hey, King, follow the trail. You go home, buddy. No, I don't like the looks of this. That said life and death. Come on, King, on, boy.
Down this tunnel. You recognize it, Mr. Churchill? The one where the shoring is weak. An accident in here won't be unexpected, will it?
What do you intend to do? Pull the shoring down on our heads?
That's all arranged. Stop a minute. See? Blasting powder behind these timbers. All I have to do is light the fuse.
And be buried with us.
Hardly. You two are going to march on down to the end of the tunnel. Move or I'll shoot.
Come on, Ann.
That's it. A little farther. Better. Now I'm going to light the fuse. There'll be time for me to get out of the tunnel, but not for you. Because I'm going to keep you covered as I back up. I'll shoot if you move. Remember that. A match. And the fuse is lit. Stay where you are.
Look! The sergeant saw what was happening as he entered the tunnel. He brought the barrel of his gun down on Cooper's head, knocking him to the ground. Then he sprinted onto the charge of blasting powder, pulled out the fuse, and stamped on it.
Adam, where are you? Right here, Sergeant. Come on in.
Rex, however, hadn't been knocked out. He leveled his revolver at the sergeant, but King was watching him, and his jaws closed on Cooper's gun hand. The gun fell from his grasp, and a moment later, the sergeant snapped a pair of handcuffs on his wrists.
Good work, King. He won't bother us anymore.
Sergeant, you saved our lives.
So it seems. I had no idea that Cooper was such a dangerous character.
Nor had I, but there's no doubt about it. He meant to kill us both.
And I'll tell you why, Sergeant. I'll be glad.
I can wait till we
Take
get
down
above
an
ground. On your
animal 10
feet,
times
Cooper.
its weight, and then tear the meat from the bone.
Later, in Adam's cabin, when Ann
Try
had
to pull
finished
your
her
hand
story,
out. You're not getting your
was
whole
murdered,
hand
and you
out.
believe
Don't ever
Cooper
pull your
killed
hand
She
out if
wasn't
one of those
murdered.
dogs bites it.
The death certificate was perfectly genuine. She died on the way from Portland. She was buried at sea.
That can be checked easily enough.
It's true.
And you lied to me just to make me help you with your awful scheme.
Ah, little.
Watch it, Cooper. The charge against you is attempted murder. You're under arrest in the name of the Crown. I warn you that anything you say may be taken down and used in evidence against you. I'll take him to his cabin.
Sergeant, are you going to arrest me?
Well, I suppose you could be charged with conspiracy to defraud if Adam wants to press charges.
Oh, nonsense. Nothing of the kind. She only wanted to keep an old man from feeling alone in the world. What's more, she succeeded. I admire your courage, Anne. I may have lost the niece I never saw, but I feel that I've gained a daughter.
Mr. Churchill.
I'll leave you two to talk it over. Come on, Cooper.
All right.
You said these old guys are all fucked up in the head.
As the sergeant and Cooper stepped outside, Buddy raised the bedroom window and called across to him.
Everything under control, Sergeant?
Everything's under control, buddy.
You still don't know what's going on.
Scratch on my cheek.
I'm glad, son.
And you know what?
What, buddy?
Blaze is sleeping at the foot of my bed. I don't think he'll ever leave me again.
I don't think so either, buddy. You get back to bed now.
Yes, sir.
Come on, Cooper. The girl finds a home, Buddy's dog comes back, and you go to jail. This case is closed.
They say you can raise wolf puppies, and they'll even learn commands, but once they get to a certain age, they completely disregard humans.
In our next adventure, two men are sitting at a corner table in the cafe at Gold Ledge, talking in low tones.
I am
That's
sure
an Arabic word.
he is pretending to be an ordinary dog puncher in order to get evidence against us. The man is really Sergeant Preston. What are we going to do, Rush? It's up to you. Get rid of him.
You will be traveling with him to Whitehorse and back. The gorge is the ideal place. A blow on the head and he drops over the side. It is impossible to recover the body. When you come back, you report an accident. It is the end of Sergeant Preston. Yes, Sergeant Preston's disguise has been penetrated. A gang of desperados have decided he must die, and the spot for the murder has been picked. The trail that rims the edge of the precipice. Don't miss this next exciting adventure. These radio dramas, a feature of the Challenge of the Yukon Incorporated, are created by George W. Trendle, produced by Trendle Campbell Enterprises, directed by Fred Flowerday, and supervised by Charles D. Livingston. The part of Sergeant Preston is played by Paul Sutton.
Most of the time.
The Challenge of the Yukon is brought to you every Saturday and Sunday.
This is Bill music for this list.
This is J. Michael wishing you goodbye and good luck until our next adventure. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
You're listening to Chin Radio AM 1540, the voice of multicultural Toronto, bringing you the latest updates on COVID-19. Stay informed, stay safe, and stay tuned to Chin Radio AM 1540.
From Hollywood, it's time now for Edmund O'Brien as... Johnny Dollar.
We're ready on your call to Boston. Go ahead, please.
Hello?
Yes?
Mr. Semplin? This is Johnny Dollar.
Johnny Dollar? I don't believe I remember you, Mr. Dollar.
Well, we've never met. Your company hired me here in Hartford to investigate the Joan Sebastian death.
Oh? It's odd that they didn't advise me.
Well, they probably will. I called you to find out the name of the officer in charge of the case, if I could.
It's Lieutenant DeRosa.
DeRosa. Do you happen to know what their theory is, if any?
Theory? I don't think they've arrived at a definite theory.
Still a toss-up between murder and suicide, huh? Okay, Mr. Semplin. I'll be in touch.
Edmund O'Brien in a transcribed adventure of the man with the action-packed expense account. America's fabulous freelance insurance investigator.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. Expense account submitted by Special Investigator Johnny Dollar to Home Office, Corinthian Life Insurance Company, Hartford, Connecticut. The following is an accounting of expenditures during my investigation of the Joan Sebastian matter. Expense account item 1, 175 phone call to Boston, advising your manager there of my assignment. Item 2, $28 car rental and mileage from my Hartford apartment to police headquarters, Boston.
What's the matter, Dollar? Don't you trust us?
Well, it's not up to me to mistrust you, Lieutenant. These insurance people get uneasy when there's a choice between suicide and murder, unless the murder motive is the policy.
And you don't think there's a chance of that?
I wouldn't say definitely not, but the Sebastian girl made her mother her beneficiary, and her mother's an invalid in a rest home.
Did you know the mother has taken up with an old flame?
No, I didn't.
Oh, yeah. Goes to see her a couple, 3 times a week. Crazier things have happened. I'll get the
Couple
file
or
for you.
three.
Sit down. Here's a photo of where she was found.
That's the bridge?
She was lying right about there. But I don't think you have to worry about suicide, Dollar.
I'll buy that, too. I haven't said his bridge is a suicide type.
And there's another thing. I've been on the force for 4 years, and I've been but I've never known a woman to do it that way without taking off her coat. Yeah, usually she was too. I've learned that
Sebastian girl didn't fit the pattern.
I want them bullets for real, that hit his brother's car. But I'm back to the ways.
This ain't back in the day. In 2017, I probably put the map to his face. Fuck these shows, strapped back to back to the stage. I shoot it up and then I join the crowd. On my hit shit, well, I'm running. Disassembled it. Some sick shit. Take the
There's nothing in your field of
shooting
internet, so
ballistics. Say
that's
that's how you get away with charges on some stick shit.
boring and predictable as hell.
Savages never ran in my savages.
I don't follow anymore.
Boring and predictable as hell.
I could dig up background myself.
Put my hood on with a black mask and a broken strap. Still bang 6 indented whips when I hold it back. Why'd I roll with that? In these streets, there ain't no holding back. Gotta move, needing the street boss and an older strap. I got 7 in that 5th, like my block number. 17 in the clip for my blockbusters. I ain't gotta wait for my team. This ain't no blockbuster. My young boy was 14 when he shot something. 15 in that Beretta he bust. I stay reppin'. I never changed my sweater in months. Even when I got knocked, nigga, I was reppin' the same. A week later, 10 bands just to get up the cage. There's 8 in the snub. That's 2 more than the 38 I gave to my cuz. And if you know me, they tryna throw a gun on me. It's only allegations. If it was mine, it was in case they tried to run on me. 3 to 5 is what they asking, but I won't fight the game. Got a little daughter to raise, so I'ma fight the case. When I got that phone call, man, I couldn't talk the clock. You were angel, I'm white in that wooden box. That's a vision I could never remove. And if I go, it's cause I'm dancing with the devil in the heavenly mood. That's like mixing water with oil and crippling with the blood in that. Fuck this gang shit. I just really want my brother back. I want that joy put back in his mother's heart. I want them bullets reversed that hit his brother's heart. When I back the ratchet ahead and back in the ways. And we ain't friends, this ain't back in the day. 2017, I probably put the map to his face. Fuck these shows, I'm strapped up at the back of the stage. I'll shoot it up and then I'll join the crowd. On my hit shit, well I'm running, disassembling it on some sick shit. Take the springs out so we won't shoot in ballistics. And that's how you get away with charges on some stick shit. Yeah, I was raised with the savages. Grew up with them savages, never ran in my average kicks. I only slapped back and stood tall. And this rap shit ain't the only way I put my hood on. Put my hood on with a black mask and a broken strap. Still bang 6 indented whips when I hold it back. Why'd I roll with that? In these streets, there ain't no holding back. Gotta move, needing the street bus and an older strap. I got 7 in that 5th, like my block number. 17 in the clip for my blockbusters. I ain't gotta wait for my team. This ain't no blockbuster. My young boy was 14 when he shot something. 15 in that Beretta he bust. I stayed reppin'. I never changed my sweater in months. Even when I got knocked, nigga, I was reppin' the same. A week later, 10 bands just to get out the cage. Fake love, handshakes and hugs. There's 8 in the snub. That's 2 more than the 38 I gave to my cuz. And if you know me, you know that I've been real. Since a little youth, I'm the block riding big wheels. But I'm a lot older on this block with the big steel. Peanut butter glass left his brains on the windshield. Rock, paper, scissors, spin kick like a windmill. 4/5 clip hang lower than the windshield.
Say crime pays, so I'm outside with a 9's wave. Dark clouds follow me everywhere I go. I'm hearing voices talking to me while I'm sleeping at night. Eyes open, can't move, ain't a person in sight. Premonitions and visions, you can see the red in my eyes like the red light underneath the black 45. How you got it done, but you ain't walking with it. It's like a pit bull locked in a cage. Truth through flesh when it bark, active bite. Flee the scene, low key, quiet storm playing on a getaway. Roll a blunt to calm my nerves. Adrenaline still rushing through my veins. It was either me or him, so for that I couldn't complain. Simple message for you little niggas, better stay out the way. Touch my arms, then I bear arms. It's only right. I do you niggas like they did King, cousin Harold at the red light. You try to reach, then I'm wheeling with the mat. Broad day shooters, you know about it. In the West End, everybody heard about it. On that Master P, all my niggas about it. When your flame lit, niggas coming through the alley. Yellow tape on your strip, hella shells on the floor. That's how my niggas do it when it's time for the war. That's how my niggas do it when it's time for the war, nigga. 714T, nigga. 5th for the motherfucking grind, nigga.
It's like a bass guitar in the background.
All day, nigga.
Much bigger speakers.
little nigga. I run the dot. Even when I'm OT, my nigga. I run the dot. Nothing gon' change, little nigga.
First, we celebrated.
My feet going rock climbing on it.
It's the warp core.
Why she said it, I'ma get that spinach. I be sinning, I'm winning. They don't like it, yeah, I bet. I see the pain in their heart and their chest. Why she said it, I'ma get that spinach. I be sinning, I'm winning. They don't like it, yeah, I bet. I see the pain in their heart and their chest. I love the rain when it falls, yeah, I'm blessed. Fuck the fame and the cars and the jets. I had them thinking I was gone to the psych ward. I never left to live the life you would die for. I tell her, oh, I can't save her, I'm no lifeguard. Maybe you can get the deed, but I might charge. Pull up to the spot, they're like, who is that there? Hands up, give me the loot like a cashier. What you thought, are you dumb? I don't play shit. I killed you and your brother with the same clip. All that bullshit you been talking, boys, ain't you? I'm a different man now, leave your face. Why she said it, I'ma get that spinach. I be sinning, I'm winning. They don't like it, yeah, I bet. I see the pain in their heart and their chest. Why she said it, I'ma get that spinach. I be sinning, I'm winning. They don't like it, yeah, I bet. I see the pain in their heart and their chest. Yo, versus spot, then I'm leaving unidentified. Just a rental, had to drop it off at Enterprise. Shell case was in the whip, had to check it twice. I think my OGs for that shit, they get good advice. Yeah, this about to be a genocide. These motherfuckers will be dead, but I can never die. I'm the reason why your wife said she met a guy. 2 minutes in a swisher just to get inside. Yeah, we are not the same kind. You gotta pay dues, I already paid twice. Y'all don't make moves, all you do is waste time. I'ma always be woke while you haters stay blind. Why she said it, I'ma get that spinach. I be sinning, I'm winning. They don't like it, yeah, I bet. I see the pain in their heart and their chest. Why she said it, I'ma get that spinach. I be sinning, I'm winning. They don't like it, yeah, I bet. I see the pain in their heart and their chest.
Man, I'm down for some shit. When it comes to the grind, I'm a bit. Went to bars, get a slap with a fifth. Man, I'm back on my shit. I'm a peanut butter strap in the whip. Man, I almost made it back to the crib. But it's back to the strip. With a trap that flip. Little nigga keep a hammer. And a bag full of shit. That little nigga just like one drugs. I used to have a lot of fun when I bust guns. Never did I trust love. I lost a lot of friends. How did my friends switch to? The info got Percy. That's why I stay with a pistol. Stay by my influence. Stay to the fix an issue. These dreams, I'm be tips to get placed in this issue. Deuce, bullet face the nipple out the baby. I rip the tap the same size as a baby. You gotta slide, my nigga. He got faded on. I was in his crib like the bed that his baby on. Head hurting like I need me a solid mouth. Smell your mints, but you pussy sitting right at all. I think I seen him. Big homie cut the lights off. Someone get the voice in the service, cause it's a radar. Fucking bad down, so bad clothes to the bad down. I was smoking packs and I seen black like it's tight down. I was making wax for the cheesecake like I'm Thailand. Niggas couldn't move me off that corner, I'm a pylon. You niggas is all amateurs. Niggas see my whip and try to shoot me through the passenger, but God got me though. Nah, nigga, this ain't a party show. Me, I got the sauce and cooked beef like a sloppy Joe. My brown Smith can separate faith from the non-fiction. The $3 bills got me a title that's not restricted like my sound chicken. You can't Young as be wiggin' like I'm New Jersey. From a place where the bombs need jobs. Blue spray paint on the concrete bars. I am a fight up in the project house. The niggas walking and walking and diving. Pull it out and work it out. Open, I'm a survivor. Thank you, Lord, for the things you did. And thank you, Father, for the fact that I could wake up and I see my kids. With every blessing comes a curse. And I know that I'm still stressing. But as a man, I can't show that. For my daughters that they never have to worry. But I'm worried that they're gonna have to worry. But fuck that shit. That's why I'm out here.
Reality, bitch. Come on. Walk with us. If we were in a gang, I'd bang on the bitches, leaving all the snitches, sleeping with the fishes. If we were in a gang, I'd let it be known I'm not alone. We lurking outside your home. If we were in a gang, I wouldn't hesitate. I'd be a renegade and walk around and regulate. If we were in a gang, I'd join the government and try to rule the world like I was someone that the devil sent. Gangsta, gangsta. Everybody shouted, labeled as a gang, might as well be all about it. So who's the enemy? I guess we got beef. Looking like a warrior, but feeling like a chief. Nobody said tripping. This is certain girls. And once you get your first dose, you become an addict. If I'm a gang member, then I'm a loyal one. Because I'm here to represent and get the job done. We put in overtime, protecting what we got. So if they think they're gonna shut us down, I think not. Taking the underground, just like you never seen. If I was in a gang, my team would be a big machine. Straight wrecking shit, not giving a fuck. When I'm looking for the loot, everybody's getting stuck. Better duck when we come around, bitch, we united. I'm gonna keep it real. If we a gang, we about to riot.
If we were a gang, I'd do the same shit I do now. My psychopathic mind thought soldiers ready to move out. Now who's down to move pounds? Real life shootouts. My killers run up in the crib, will make that bitch my new house. Now 2 blocks before this ass meet your teeth. Psychopathic, the label that runs beneath the street. Check it, I am the shady one. You'll read it in the articles. I'm crazy with a gun. I turn your body into particles. And I just limbo, come with the kinfolk, just be info. But I like your window, all I do is swim broke. Get a skin so get your bike shut out like a limo with a twin fold.
They tried claiming our music was violent, and the video games, movies in general, all that shit. They tried claiming all that shit was violent. This Johnny Dollar thing from the 30s, there was a serious industry of the name Pulp Fiction comes from the quality of the paper the books were printed on. It was the cheapest paper. When there was some serious gory shit, like fictional and non-fiction. This is just what they can get away with broadcasting on the radio.
To go to her mother. I see. Her death has been classed as a suicide, which voids the policy. The 2-year self-destruction clause is still in effect.
That's a pity.
Why'd you say that?
It's the least she could do for poor Mildred.
That's her mother?
Yes, an extremely young mother. Who was almost ruined her life for that girl.
I didn't know that.
Daughter was born when Mildred was only 17. She was left to care for the child herself. I helped as much as I could.
How well did you know the girl after she grew up?
Why, she's a friend of her mother's. Why do you ask?
Which one did you know first?
I don't see what this has to do with the
You
matter.
don't have to answer.
I don't want you to misunderstand. There's nothing to be hidden. I suppose it is unusual. I did meet Joan first. But when she took me to her house and I met her mother, I realized that Joan was, well, no more than a cheap little opportunist. The complete opposite from her mother. As I say, I suppose it is unusual.
And that doesn't make any difference. The point is that you dropped the girl in favor of her mother. Is that it?
It wasn't the gross situation you evidently wish it had been. I realized Mildred's condition and the lack of care. I knew she needed someone, and I did what I could for her.
Did you send her to the rest home?
I did. Now, look here, this has gone far enough. You asked me these questions for one reason, so that you can make your own conclusions, haven't you?
I didn't know it showed.
It does. Think I sent Mildred to the home to get her out of the way, don't you? That is not the case. You can think what you like. Go ask Mildred if you care to.
I won't bother her. Do you know anything about a gold key that Joan had?
A gold key? No, I don't know anything about a gold key. I've known very little about Joan all these past months. I could have told you that she was headed toward a bad end a long time ago. Now she's reached it. There's no one to blame but herself.
4 p.m. then, and at 5, I was standing in front of the North American Band building on Columbus Avenue as Harold Corey backed a big rig into a parking area and headed for a quick-order restaurant. Hello, Corey. What this time? Dispatcher tells me you're going out on another run. Pretty short layover, isn't it?
That's right, I asked for it. I figured driving, I'd get my mind off this thing. What do you want?
Do you know how she died?
I read about it. Carbon monoxide.
Do you still think it couldn't have been suicide?
She's dead. That's as far as I can think.
You knew about Paul Anderson, didn't you?
What about Paul?
That he might have been more interested in Joan than he was in her mother?
I suppose you're just doing a job, aren't you? What you say is true. I didn't know about it. If I had known about it, I would have gone after him, not Joe. I can't take any more, mister.
Look, I don't enjoy it either, Corey. Like you say, I'm just doing a job. After questioning the 6 girls who had worked with Joan Sebastian, I was still nowhere. None of them knew anything about a private life. The next morning, the police located a goldsmith who said he remembered making the key.
The police told me you might come in, Mr. Dada. No trouble at all. We're happy to oblige.
Good. You've seen the key?
Yes, the officer showed it to me. Oh, friendly young man.
I have it with me. You're sure you made it?
Oh, yes. As I can see here, I'll admit to a quaint conceit. You see here? How it scroll? See the letters?
Yeah, C.S.
My initials, Cedric Foss.
Hmm.
And I haven't the faintest recollection who I made it for. I told that young officer that, too. I don't even remember when. Oh, there's so much work, you know.
Well, maybe I can help you. It would have been between 7 and 8 months ago. You keep any kind of record?
Oh, of course I do. I'm bound to. A matter of law. 7 or 8 months should... let me see. That would be November, October, September.
7 would be March. 8 would be February.
Oh, yes. Here we are. Oh, frankly, I'm intrigued. How many of my items may have been involved with tragedy? Who knows? Perhaps I'm a curse.
Old. I was hoping you'd be a cure for this.
You wouldn't know what week or day.
Oh, I'm afraid not.
Oh, my. February wasn't a very good month, was it? Post-holiday slump. Reset, change rings, set opened. Dreadful stuff. What? No, it's much too small. Key for a jewel box. Well, let me see. March. Yes, engraved spoon, reset. Here it is. Door key in gold, March 17th.
What name?
Do not deliver. We'll call J.E. Carter.
J.E. Carter.
Does that help?
No, not a bit. Do you remember anything about him?
No, paid in cash. Wait, now, that was the day Mrs. Brand brought the baby shoe in for placing. She's the councilman's wife. I remember that. It was snowing.
That was the day it was ordered.
Yes, now, wait a minute. It was modeled from a plain old cast house key. I cannot picture him. But I'd done some apartment keys, and he said this was for a cottage.
Outside of town?
It was a surprise for his wife, someplace on the bay. I remember that because of the hideous weather, and I could just feel that wind coming through one of those summer cottages.
Now, do you think you'd recognize him if you saw him again?
Well, I can't say until I do. I could try.
Well, we may have to call on you then. Thanks. Thanks a lot. I think you've helped.
How'd you make out with that fussy little man, Dollar?
We found the day the key was ordered, and he remembered a few things because the councilman's wife came in the same day.
Why?
Well, the customer, Carter was the name he used, mentioned a cottage on the bay. Now, that's east, and the girl's body was found northwest of here. I think she was dumped from a car coming toward Boston from out there. So I think the cottage is in that direction.
Deduction here.
Look, if I were going to dump a body, I wouldn't carry it across 2 traffic lanes, would you?
I'm being paid to think about another case. I couldn't sell the murder pitch upstairs. But I tried, and I'll buck for a promotion if you're right and upstairs is wrong.
I don't suppose you can earn that promotion by assigning some men to cover that section.
Huh? Oh, not a chance. That's county. Division of responsibility.
And I, for one, wouldn't be surprised to know how many people have died because of that division of responsibility. Expense account item 4, $35 mileage covering a 2.5-day search of real estate offices northwest of Boston. Object, a cottage rented a few days before March 17th by a man possibly using the name J.E. Carter. It was morning to night legwork, but on the afternoon of the third day, it paid off. I found an agent who had rented a cottage to a J.E. Carter. She took me out, but before we went into the place, I noticed a lean-to garage marked up by plenty of tire tracks. Inside, I found a stained rug, among other things.
Well, Mr. Dollar, I've always said I personally vouch for the people I do business with.
You never know, do you?
I should say you don't. You want to go now?
I think I've seen enough. Let me lock it. I want to see if this key fits.
It does fit.
Yeah, it sure does.
Mr. Dollar.
Hello, Mr. Hollis. May I come in?
Why, yes, of course. Come in. Well, I didn't expect you to come back.
Didn't you, Mr. Hollis? You thought you'd get away with this, huh?
What did you say?
Well, now, there's no reason to be clever with each other, Mr. Hollis. I know you killed her. You rented a cottage out beyond Mystic River. You used the name J.E. Carter when you bought the gold key.
I did that?
I'm afraid you did.
Come into the other room. Yes, you're right, I did. I became infatuated with her. If you'd known her, you'd understand. I realized last week that it had to stop, and I told her. She had been going with that young Corey boy. I told her that even if I was single and eligible to marry, I would advise her to hang on to him, someone her own age.
That was last Tuesday night?
Yes. She left the cottage, and I heard her drive off. Or at least I thought I did. When I went out, I learned what she had really done. She committed suicide in the car. You can hardly blame me for wanting to keep the secret.
Well, you've been reading the papers, Mr. Hollis, suicide and all that. I've been inside your cottage. You didn't do a very good job of cleaning up the bloodstains.
You're right, Mr. Dunham. There seems to be no longer any reason to attempt cleverness. I'll make my statement to the police.
I'll drive you down.
Thank you. How did you find out, Dollar?
There was a Wall Street Journal there, addressed to you.
Oh, I see.
Edward?
Beatrice, go upstairs.
No, Edward, I won't.
I insist, Beatrice.
What good will it do? Do what I've done because I lost you? Why should you ask me to go upstairs while I lose you again?
I forbid you to say another word.
Forbid, Edward. You have no right. I found them, Mr. Dollar. It took a long time, but I found them. She'd taken him from me because she was beautiful. And I no longer am. I was waiting in the cottage. And when they came in, I struck her.
Is this true, Mrs. Hollis?
I killed her. And since there was nothing left, we carried her to the car.
Beatrice. Beatrice, what have I done?
Oh, she does carbon monoxide.
Expense account item 5, $110 final bill for car rental. Item 6, $85 miscellaneous. Expense account total, $356.75. Remarks? I don't know what sticklers the Massachusetts law courts are, but Joan Sebastian was not killed by the wronged wife. She was unconscious but alive when Hollis put her in his car trunk. She died there by carbon monoxide. Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, stars Edmund O'Brien in the title role and is written by Gil Dowd with music by Wilbur Hatch. Edmund O'Brien may soon be seen in the Paramount Pictures production Warpath. Featured in tonight's cast were Virginia Gregg, Howard McNear, Virginia Eiler, Wally Mayer, John Stevenson, Bill Johnstone, and Raymond Burr. Yours truly, Johnny Dollars, transcribed in Hollywood by Jaime Del Valle. This is Dan Coverly inviting you to join us next week at this time when we'll again bring you Edmund O'Brien as
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Stay tuned for Vaughn Monroe's Caravan, which follows immediately over most of these same CBS stations. This is CBS, where Hopalong Cassidy rides every Saturday night, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
You're listening to Chin Radio AM 1540, the voice of multicultural Toronto, bringing you the latest updates on COVID-19. Stay informed, stay safe, and stay tuned to Chin Radio AM 1540.
Now, as gunshots echo across the wind-swept, snow-covered reaches of the wild Northwest, Quaker Puff Wheat and Quaker Puff Rice, the breakfast cereal shot from guns, present the challenge of the Yukon. It's Yukon King, swiftest and strongest lead dog of the Northwest, blazing the trail for Sergeant Preston of the Northwest Mounted Police in his relentless pursuit of lawbreakers. On King, on, you huskies! Gold discovered in the Yukon. A stampede to the Klondike in the wild race for riches. Back to the days of the gold rush. With Quaker Puff Wheat and Quaker Puff Rice, bringing you the adventures of Sergeant Preston and his wonder dog Yukon King as they meet the challenge of the Yukon. When you get up in the morning, there's nothing like a breakfast you really go for. Like, for instance, delicious Quaker Puff Wheat or Quaker Puff Rice with milk or cream and fruit.
With the 20th, with 1 million people expected to get the shots, but to people of all ethnic groups across the country. The International Olympic Committee chief says Beijing is roughly $46 million US. The comedy Detective Chinatown 3 tops the pre-sale chart with its sales exceeding 200 million yuan. As the first
Summer had come to the Yukon. Sergeant Preston of the Northwest Mounted Police reined to a halt before the headquarters building in Dawson.
Hold on.
With Sergeant Preston was the great dog King, who stood waiting as his master dismounted.
Come on, King. We'll find out why the inspector sent for us.
The inspector's waiting for you, Sergeant. Said for you to come right into his office.
Thanks. Stay out here, King.
Oh, good afternoon, Sergeant. Glad to see you.
Hello, Inspector. I understand you want to see me.
Yes, I do. Sit down, Sergeant.
Thank you.
Sergeant, there's trouble up at 40 Mile.
Huh?
Constable up there asked to have you and King come up there as soon as possible.
Yes, sir. We'll start right away. What happened up there, do you know?
Frankly, I don't, Sergeant. The message I received by Eskimo Runner from the constable just said there was trouble. He'd like to have you and King there.
I see.
Sorry, I can't tell you what to expect, but Constable Gordon wouldn't have sent for you unless it was something unusual.
Yes, sir, I know. George Gordon's a very capable officer.
Yes, he is, Sergeant. Incidentally, I tried to question the Eskimo who brought the message.
Oh, what was the result?
Well, I got very little out of him, but his attitude struck me as being very strange.
Strange? What do you mean, Inspector?
The more I questioned him, the less he seemed inclined to answer. Though I felt sure he knew to a certain extent what the trouble is up there.
Well, what makes you think he does know something about it?
Well, he seemed very nervous and upset. And to nearly every question, he gave the same answer.
The same answer? That is strange.
You'll think it even more strange when you hear what his answer was. It was, me not talk, evil spirit maybe get angry at Kulak.
Huh? Wonder what he meant by that.
That's what I'd like very much to know, Sergeant, and what you'll have to find out when you get there.
Well, whatever has happened seems to have aroused the superstition of the Eskimos up that way.
That's right, but I can't figure it out, Sergeant. I hope you can after you get to 40 Mile.
If there isn't anything else, sir, I'll be on my way.
Right, Sergeant, and good luck to you and King. Whatever the trouble is, I know you two will settle it, if it can be settled.
Thanks. We'll do our best, sir. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Sergeant.
Come along, King. We have a long trip ahead of us.
After going to his cabin in Dawson and making preparations, Sergeant Preston mounted his horse, and with King running alongside, they set out. It was the following evening when the Mountie and his big husky stopped at the constable's office in 40 Mile.
Hello there, Come on, King.
Sergeant Preston and King. I'm sure glad to see both of you.
How are you, George?
Fine, Sergeant. Hello there, fella.
Both King and my horse can do with a bit of food and rest as soon as possible.
Of course. We'll go to my cabin shortly. But I know you're anxious to know why I sent for you first.
Why, yes, I am curious. You didn't give the inspector much information.
Sit down, Sergeant.
Right.
I have very little to give. In fact, the whole thing is rather mysterious.
Tell me about it.
Well, Bear Creek is about 10 miles from here. The trail runs along a rocky canyon for about 2 miles. That canyon, built smack up against the base of the cliff, is a deserted prospector's cabin.
I see.
First of all, during the past 2 months, travelers along the trail have reported seeing a mysterious light at night in that cabin. First, some of them decided to stop there. But by the time they reached the cabin, the light was gone, and no one seemed to be there.
Perhaps whoever was inside just didn't want visitors and didn't answer the door.
No. You see, on 3 occasions, different men who passed there had stopped. After knocking at the door, they went inside. The door was not locked. Yet no one was inside at all, and there was no lamp in evidence.
Well, that is mysterious.
Finally, people began to be superstitious about the cabin and gave it a wide berth. But later, a few who hadn't heard about it stopped there and spent the night with unusual consequences.
Such as what?
Well, one of them was a trapper. He took his furs inside with him, then bolted the door and went to sleep. When he awoke, the furs were gone.
Have you investigated the cabin yourself?
Oh, sure. It's the usual thing, practically bare of furnishings except a table, chair, and the bunk. Moth-eaten caribou hides hang on the back wall, probably to keep out the dampness.
Prospectors usually do that when they build a cabin against a cliff wall. It does keep out dampness.
Yes. Well, I pounded all along the back wall to make sure it was solid. With the door bolted and the windows locked, no one could get in. Yet everyone who stopped there has had trouble.
The cabin stands on a rock. There'd be no tracks of any kind to follow either.
That's right. But 3 days ago, something even worse and more mysterious happened there.
What was that?
I came to my office here in the morning. Shortly after, a young Frenchwoman who lives at Bear Creek with her husband came in. She was excited and upset as she told me the story.
Oh, you must help me. You must. My Pierre is gone.
Try to be calm, Mrs. Millette, and tell me what's happened.
Well, 2 days ago, Pierre decided to come to 40 Mile to bring the gold he had taken from our claim during the winter. It was raining hard that day, so Pierre waited until late afternoon before he started. After the rain let up, Pierre did not come back yesterday as he planned to do.
Maybe he was delayed in town.
Oh, at first I thought that. Then a friend who had a nearby claim stopped at our cabin. He said he had met Pierre along the trail near the canyon. Pierre told him he was going to stop for the night at the deserted cabin there.
I see. What else?
Early this morning I arrived in town. I asked at the bank, at the cafe, at the hotel, everywhere. But no one had seen Pierre at all, monsieur. Something has happened to him, I know it.
Now, try to be calm, Mrs. Millette. How is Pierre traveling?
On horseback, monsieur.
You have a horse outside?
Oui, monsieur. I am frightened. I have heard strange things at that cabin in the canyon. But my Pierre, he just laughed and said not to be superstitious.
Come on. We'll make some more inquiries around town. Then we'll ride up to the canyon and have a look in that cabin. Might be that Pierre is already at home now. You may have missed him somehow.
Oh, but that is impossible. There is only one train to Bear Creek. But I will go with you, monsieur. I will do anything to find Pierre.
Well, George, did you find out anything about the missing Pierre?
No. I asked around town without success.
Then Mrs. Moulette and I rode to the cabin. She refused to go inside, so I went in alone. I found a hat there on the table, which Mrs. Moulette identified as Pierre's.
He wouldn't be apt to go off and leave his hat.
That's what I figured. But what I couldn't figure was what happened to him and his horse. Pierre hasn't shown up yet.
You think he might have decided to leave his wife for some reason or other?
No, I don't believe that at all. They were devoted to each other. And what's more, Pierre Moulette is well known both in 40 Mile and at Bear Creek. He would have had to go one way or the other, and I feel sure someone would have seen him. Then there's that hat. Pierre never went anywhere without his hat.
You said that other things had happened at that cabin before his disappearance.
Yes. Besides the trapper who lost his furs, on 2 occasions, prospectors who stayed in the locked cabin woke up to find their gold and supplies were gone.
Everything seems to center around that deserted cabin.
That's right, it does. I stayed there one night myself, but nothing happened at all. I sat up all night watching and listening.
Come on, George. I'll give King and my horse some food, and then we'll ride to Bear Creek and talk to Mrs. Moulette. After that, we'll visit that mysterious cabin.
About 3 hours later, Sergeant Preston, with King and George Gordon, arrived at Marie Moulette's cabin. The 2 Mounties drew rein and dismounted.
Go, fellows, go on. Come on, King.
Oh, Monsieur Gordon, you bring news of Pierre?
No, Mrs. Moulette. I brought Sergeant Preston. He came over from Dawson City to help locate Pierre.
How do you do, Mrs. Moulette?
Oh, Sergeant, you must find him, you must.
We'll do what we can.
Do come inside. Oh, that ugly dog, will
King
you?
won't hurt you. I'll need his help in finding your husband.
Then bring him in, too.
Thank you. Come on, King. I want to ask you a few questions, Mrs. Moulette. Did anyone know that Pierre was carrying gold?
No one but myself, Sergeant. Pierre did not talk much of our business to others.
I see.
It's that awful cabin, Sergeant. I was afraid of it, but Pierre, he just laughed at me about my fears. Then he goes and stays there for the night. And when Monsieur the Constable smashed the bolt on the door and went in, he found Pierre's hat.
Wait a minute. George, you didn't tell me you found the door bolted when you went to hunt for Pierre.
I thought I'd mention it. That's the thing I can't understand. The door and windows were locked from the inside. Yet I found that hat. And no trace of Pierre or his horse.
The reason behind everything that's happened lies at that deserted cabin. We're going back there right now, and we won't leave until we find out just what that reason is.
We'll continue our story in just a moment.
What racist commercial are you gonna? What racist joke are you gonna turn into a commercial today?
Hometown, if they are returning from a low risk area, they still need to present the negative nucleic.
Yes, these are giant-sized grains. I said giant-sized. And they actually are shot from guns to make them crisp and tender. Quaker puffed rice and Quaker puffed wheat are exploded up to 8 times normal size. That makes them bigger and better tasting. Yes, they're shot through and through with keen nut-like flavor, too. They're a thrifty deluxe breakfast treat that's easy to fix as falling off a log. Just pour out a bowl full and add some fruit and milk or cream. Talk about good. More important, long hours at school and play call for a hearty breakfast. And Quaker puffed wheat and Quaker puffed rice furnish added food values of restored natural grain amounts of vitamin B1, niacin, and iron. So how about it? You'll be getting off to a flying start when you eat Quaker puffed wheat or Quaker puffed rice. And to get the original, crisp, fresh wheat or rice shot from guns, always buy the big red and blue package with the smiling Quaker man on the front. Quaker puffed wheat and Quaker puffed rice are never sold in bags or bulk. Now to continue our story. Sergeant Preston and King had gone to Marie Moulette's cabin at Bear Creek with Constable Gordon. When Preston found out that the missing Pierre's hat had been found inside the cabin, though the doors and windows were locked when the constable investigated, he decided to go to the cabin and stay there until the mystery was solved. Leaving Mrs. Moulette's cabin, the two Mounties stopped by the trading post to get a few supplies.
Hold on, King.
Here you are, Mr. Kendall. Anything else for you?
No, that's all. Well, looks like you got reinforcements to run down those ghosts over in that cabin, Constable.
They'll be mighty sorry ghosts when Sergeant Preston and this dog King track them down, Kendall.
Hey, you hear that, Sam? He sent to Dawson City for the famous Sergeant Preston and his dog to waste their time looking for nothing.
Yeah. I've heard of Preston before. Sure ahead of me there. I haven't heard of either of you before.
Sergeant, this is Gus Kendall, runs a cafe in 40 Mile. Sam Mason works for him.
Glad to meet you, Mountie.
Once more, you're ahead of me.
Huh? I don't get it.
Forget it. The small one.
I didn't expect to run into you over here in Bear Creek this late in the evening, Gus.
I came over with Sam on business, thinking of staking a claim up this way. Tell me, have you come to any conclusions about that cabin business?
No, not yet. It's sure a mystery. Got all the prospectors around here nervous about going along that trail. Two of them up that way give up their claims and left already. Mighty funny business. Mighty funny.
There's an explanation for everything, and we'll find one for the happenings at that cabin.
Yeah, maybe you will sometime. But I guess even the constable got shook up a bit to find Moulette's hat in a cabin that was locked up from the inside, eh, Constable?
I admit it had me baffled, Gus.
Well, let's get going, Sam. We got to get back to 40 Mile.
All right.
Seeing you all again.
Go on.
Goodbye, Kendall. Easy, fella. I don't like them either.
They aren't very well liked around 40 Mile.
Well, let's get the few supplies we want and then get going, George. We're wasting time.
A short time later, Sergeant Preston and the constable rode the trail toward the mystery cabin in the canyon.
We'll soon be at the cabin, George.
I know. I hope you and King can straighten things out. As Mike the storekeeper said, some of the prospectors who have claims along the canyon have already moved out because of their fears.
That fellow Kendall seems to keep up with the news. I was surprised he knew about you finding Pierre's hat in that locked cabin.
So was I, since I haven't mentioned it to anyone.
Oh?
But I suppose Mrs. Moulette has talked about it in Bear Creek.
I guess that's where he heard about it.
Gus and Sam must have ridden along this trail ahead of us. They said they were on their way back to 40 Mile.
That's right. Let's hurry a bit so we can be in that cabin a few hours before sunup. Get up there!
Get it! Get it!
After half an hour of fast riding, the two Mounties reined to a halt before the deserted cabin in the canyon. As they approached the cabin, Great Dog King suddenly caught the scent of the men who had been in the store at Bear Creek. He sniffed the ground, barking and growling, then went to the door of the cabin and whined as Preston stood a moment watching.
What's King acting like that for, Sergeant?
I have the feeling he's picked up Kendall's scent. They must have stopped here and dismounted. Let's look inside. Let's go in, George.
King's sniffing all around the cabin. I wonder if those two did stop here.
I'm inclined to say they did. I can't figure out why they stayed so short a time unless they stopped just for curiosity.
That could be.
But I just thought of something, George. Would you be willing to stay here alone till I get back?
Sure, I've stayed here alone before. But where are you going?
I'm going to ride back to Bear Creek. Won't take too long.
All right.
On, King. Why, look here, George.
What is it?
The bolt on this door. Didn't you say you broke in here when you came to find Pierre?
Yes, I did it. The bolt's been fixed.
Yes. Well, we'll go along now. Bolt the door after we leave. I'll knock when I get back. Let's go, King. Easy, fella. Steady now. Get up there.
As Sergeant Preston rode along the trail toward Bear Creek, after leaving the constable in the mysterious cabin, the thought that had come into his mind was still uppermost.
Maybe I have a crazy idea. But it's my one chance to get a line on what happens at the cabin. I should have thought of it at the time Kendall made that remark in the store.
Maybe you will sometime. But I guess even the constable got shook up a bit to find Moulette's hat in a cabin that was locked up from the inside, eh, Constable?
George says he didn't mention that hat. I'll find out what Mrs. Moulette has to say. that fellow. Come on, kid.
Upon his arrival in Bear Creek, Sergeant Preston went to the cabin of Mrs. Moulette and pulled rein.
Hold there. Right here, King.
I hate to get her out of bed, but I've got to find out whom she told about that hat.
Sergeant Preston, you bring news already?
No, Mrs. Moulette. I came back to ask you a very important question. Your answer may give me a clue to the whole situation.
But of course. What is the question, Sergeant?
Now think carefully. Did you at any time mention that the constable found Pierre's hat locked in the cabin of the cannon?
But no, Sergeant, I did not. I spoke to no one about it. That is the truth.
I see. That's all I want to know. I think I have an idea, but... Constable Gordon, I left him there alone.
But did you not
I
understand?
can't stop to explain now. Thanks for answering my question. Goodbye. We've got to hurry, King. There's no time to lose. Steady, fellow. Come there. Come on.
Sergeant Preston raced back at top speed along the trail to the canyon cabin, with King running alongside the galloping horse. Sometime later, he arrived at the cabin.
Oh, there. Oh. Come on, King. George! George! Doesn't answer. Watch the break in, King. Here goes. He's not here. He's afraid of that. All right, King. Find Constable Gordon. Hurry, fella. King's scratching on the floor near that blank wall. There's old caribou hides on the wall. I'll pull them down. That log wall. Let's see.
At first glance, the rear log wall looked natural. Then Sergeant Preston noticed that unlike most cabins, short logs had been placed end to end to form the back wall instead of the usual single long logs. He noticed, too, that the logs were pieced together in the center of the wall, so that their ends formed a straight line from the floor almost to the ceiling. Above that, the uniformity didn't exist. He placed his hand against the crack a moment.
Slight draft coming through. That means an opening behind that wall. This must be some sort of a doorway if I can find out how to make it open.
Pushing on one log after another, Sergeant Preston looked for the hidden means of making the logs move.
I know I'm right. It's the only explanation.
While Sergeant Preston worked patiently on the logs, King sniffed along the base of the log wall. Suddenly, he grew excited as he sniffed at a knot on one of the logs. He found that the scent of the man Kendall, whom he had disliked in the store, was very strong at that point, and he tried to tell his master.
What is it, King? What is it, fella? Let's have a look. That knot. I wonder.
Reaching down, Preston pushed.
That did it. You found the way to open the door, and there is an opening behind it into the cliff. A cave. Easy, King. Easy, boy.
Sergeant Preston stood a moment waiting and looking into the cave opening. He saw a glimmer of light some distance back, but so far no one had seemingly noticed that he had found the cave entrance. Taking his gun in his hand, he started forward with King at his side.
Yeah, wait till that other mountie finds the constable is done. You'll begin to believe in ghosts, too.
Sergeant Preston will find you sooner or later, Kendall.
Quiet, fella, quiet.
Yeah, the old sourdough who built that secret door did us a favor, eh, sir?
Yeah. It was a lucky day for us when we caught him with that door open. That prospector disappeared a year ago. You were the one, Kendall, who passed out the word he left 40 Mile because his claim didn't pan out. He disappeared, all right. We buried him right in this cave where you'll end up, Constable. You know too much. Getting too nosy.
There's plenty of gold in this mountain, all along this ridge. Scaring the others away is a good deal. I can manage to get it all in my name later on. Yeah, and on the side, we picked up quite a bit in furs and gold we took from fools who stayed the night out in that cabin, too.
Hey, the horses seem restless. Wonder why.
Yeah, they're all right. Let's get rid of this mountie now. No use keeping him around to use up food.
I'll plug him right now, Gus. Somebody shot me. Keep down.
Sergeant Preston could see the group back in the cave. A lantern stood on a table, and on the far side, the constable was sitting on a chair. At the sound of the shot, Gus Kendall sprang behind the constable and pointed his gun at his head.
All right, Preston, I know it's you. Come in closer. But if you try anything more, I'll put a bullet into the constable. You can't hit me while I'm behind you. Come on,
Neat little plan you have here, Kendall. But you're through. We'll take you in for murder.
You won't take me in, Mounty.
Wait, fella. Don't be too sure of yourself, Kendall.
Drop your gun by the time I count 3 or I'll plug the constable. 1.
As Gut Kendall counted, Preston placed his hand on King, while the other held his gun pointed at Kendall.
2.
Both Mounties knew that Kendall meant what he said. The constable, who was tied hand and foot, moved restlessly as he waited for the bullet he expected to crash into his head from behind.
All right. I gave you a chance to save your Mountie friend, Preston. Looks like you don't want to take it.
As Kendall talked, Sergeant Preston closed his fingers on King's back for a moment.
Easy, King. Go ahead now.
The intelligent dog knew it was a signal indicating that the time had come to act.
Well, what about it, Mountie?
Kendall, gazing intently and triumphantly at Sergeant Preston, didn't notice the gray form of the husky. King crouched down and then moved off into the shadows to one side.
It's time for the last count, Mountie.
Sergeant Preston saw that King had circled around the table and was directly in line with Kendall. And even as Kendall's lips formed the word 3, King sprang forward with a low call. Like a shot, the great dog moved forward. Before Kendall realized what had happened, King leaped at his gun arm and knocked him off his feet.
Take him off! Take him off! Down, King, down, fella. All right, Kendall, get up.
That husky, I didn't see him in the shadow.
Watch him, King boy. Walk up those cords, George. There.
Man alive, King sure moved fast. I forgot about him. But how did you get wise, Sergeant?
I remember that Kendall spoke about Pierre's hat in the locked cabin. You said you hadn't told anyone. I went to ask Mrs. Millette, and she hadn't either. I figured then that Kendall knew the secret of this place. Kendall? Where is Pierre Millette? If you killed him, too...
No, Pierre's not dead.
Shut up, Sam.
We kept him here a while. Then after the constable found his hat and went away, we took him to Gus's cabin in 40 Mile. He's tied up there.
I told you to shut up.
Gus planned to make him sign over his claim. It was his idea.
That's enough out of both of you. George, we'll take these killers to 40 Mile and then send Pierre home to his wife. I guess after that, you can get the evidence together to make a murder charge against these two.
I sure can, Sergeant. I knew if you and King came here, you'd soon get to the root of the trouble we were having.
Glad we could help, George. And I'm certain King's as happy as I am to say this case is closed.
In just a moment, Sergeant Preston will give you a preview of Monday's adventure. Fellas and girls, don't miss out on all the fun. Build the new Quaker Model Farm.
The most sincere wish to really want to retain my...
Yep. But then again, I think it just goes to see, like, if you're a migrant worker, if your family is with you, then this would be a really good deal for you a good deal of an
People choose to stay where they are. Most likely, they are going to be continuing working, and therefore you.
Those shot from guns. These radio dramas, a feature of the Challenge of the Yukon Incorporated, are created and produced by George W. Trendle, directed by Fred Flowerday, and supervised by Charles D. Livingston. The part of Sergeant Preston is played by Paul Sutton. They are brought to you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at the same time by Quaker Puff Wheat and Quaker Puff Rice, the breakfast cereal shot from guns. Listen Monday when Sergeant Preston and Yukon King meet the challenge of the Yukon in the case of the Luck of the Newtons.
When Ben Newton made a gold strike and left his wife and little son alone overnight in their cabin, he didn't expect anything unusual to happen. But it turned out to be a night of terror for them both, taking King and me into unlooked-for danger against a couple of tough killers.
Be sure to hear this exciting adventure Monday. You boys or girls will certainly want to feed your dog kennel ration. And your dog will really eat up kennel ration fast. It's made with choice cuts of lean red meat, U.S. government-inspected horse meat. This famous dog food contains vital minerals and all known dog health vitamins your dog needs. Tell Mom to start with kennel ration right away. See how happy your dog is when he gets this food he loves. Have Mom get Kennel Ration, first in canned dog food. This is J. Michael wishing you goodbye, good luck, and good health from Quaker Puffed Wheat and Quaker Puffed Rice. So long. This is ABC, the American Broadcasting Company.
You're listening to Chin Radio AM 1540, the voice of multicultural Toronto, bringing you the latest updates on COVID-19. Stay informed, stay safe, and stay tuned to Chin Radio AM 1540.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
NBC brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to missing persons detail. You've never heard of Fountain Green, Utah. You've never heard of Juanita Lasky. Los Angeles is a big city. 452 square miles, 3,356,969 people. Your job, find her.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime investigated and solved by the men who unrelentingly stand watch on the security of your home, your family, and your life. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, December 12th. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of missing persons detail. My partner is Ben Romero. The boss is Ed Backstrand, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. I was on my way back from lunch, and it was 12:47 p.m. when I got to room 67A. Missing persons detail. 4G. Federal Cafe. Good soup today. What kind? Corn chowder. It was real good. The place is jammed with Christmas shoppers. I had to wait.
Haven't even started my shopping yet. You?
I gotta pick up something for my mother. Prices are high. I'll send a lot of cards.
When you get married, Joe, ever try to sell a Christmas card to a kid? They got to have something with wheels on it.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Missing persons, Friday.
Fountain Green, Utah, calling the Los Angeles Police Department. Bureau of Missing Persons. My party will speak with anyone in charge.
This is missing persons, Sergeant Friday.
Just a moment, please. Mrs. Lasky, ready with your call to Los Angeles. Hello?
Hello?
Hello? Here's your party. Go ahead, please.
Operator?
Yes, madam.
Could you please give me the charges for this call? I'm using my neighbor's phone.
All right, madam. Please signal when your call is completed.
Oh, yes, I'll do that.
Go ahead, please.
Hello?
Hello? Are you missing persons?
Yes, ma'am. Sergeant Friday.
This is Mrs. Hannah Lasky. I'm calling you from Fountain Green, Utah.
Yes, ma'am.
This is in regard to my daughter, Juanita Lasky. I haven't heard from her in well over a month, and I'm terribly worried.
Where was she staying in Los Angeles, Ms. Lasky?
At the Chelsea Hotel for Women. I have the address. 941 South Melrose Street. I can't understand it. Ever since Juanita's been away from home, she's written twice a week regularly.
When's the last time you heard from her?
The last letter I have is postmarked November 2nd. You know how it is, Sergeant. We have no relatives in Los Angeles, and she's trying to find work down there, living all alone. I just don't know what to do.
All right, Ms. Lasky. I'll take her description over the phone and make out a preliminary report. You'll have to send us a photograph of your daughter and a letter to the effect that you want us to trace her.
I'll get the letter and the snapshot off today.
Now, what's your daughter look like? What's her full name?
Juanita Marie Lasky.
Laskey.
No E.
All right. Her age, weight, and height.
She was 26 last July 10th, 128 pounds, and about my height.
Well, how tall are you, Ms. Lasky?
Oh, yes. 5 feet 7 inches. She has auburn hair. It's quite long, and her eyes are green.
Okay, I got it. Any outstanding scars, birthmarks, anything that might help us identify her?
Oh, but what's that?
I say any outstanding scars, birthmarks, anything that might help us identify her.
No. Juanita's a pretty girl. Nice disposition. Oh, that's about all, Sergeant.
Where can we contact you, Ms. Lasky?
122 Brigham Young Street, Fountain Green, Utah. When you find Juanita, I wish you'd have her call me right away. I'll pay for the call.
We'll do that, Ms. Lasky. What's your number up there?
This is the neighbor's phone, but if they'll call me, it's Fountain Green 14R2.
Yeah,
You will try to find her as fast as you can.
we'll go to work on it.
Well, Juanita always comes home for the Christmas holidays. Do you think she's all right?
I wouldn't worry about it, Ms. Lasky. We'll call you just as soon as we get any kind of a lead on her.
Thank you so much, Sergeant. And if there's any charge, I'll be glad to pay it.
No charge. If your daughter's in Los Angeles, I think we can find her.
Oh, if there's anything wrong, you'll let me know right away?
Yes, ma'am.
You're very kind. Goodbye.
Bye. What you got, Joe? Some girl owes her mother a letter. Come on, Ben. Just a routine call. We made the usual check, the morgue, all the hospitals, the county jail. And then we went through the repeater file. We found a Juanita Lasky in the files, but the age and description didn't match. We put that lead in the discard. After the usual paperwork, the next step was to check her last known residence, the Chelsea Hotel for Women.
There it is, Joe. Chelsea Hotel.
Yeah. 55 rooms, all outside. We're home away from home. Now let's go in.
Chelsea Hotel. Thank you.
Here's the bell.
Yes, sir. May I help you?
We're looking for a Miss Juanita Lasky.
I'll ring her room. Who shall I say is calling?
Is she in?
I think so. I just saw her about an hour ago.
Okay, would you ring her room, please?
Yes, sir. And whom shall I say is calling?
My name's Friday.
All right, Mr. Friday. Just a moment. Do you wish to speak with her on the phone, or shall I have her come down?
Ask her to come down if she doesn't mind.
She doesn't seem to answer. That's funny. I'll ring again. No, sir, she doesn't seem to be in. Would you like to leave a message?
Didn't you say you saw her about an hour ago?
Yes, I did. She must have gone out again.
I wonder if we could check her room.
Oh, no. Gentlemen are not allowed above the main lobby.
I'm sorry, ma'am. We're from the police department. Missing persons. I'm Sergeant Friday. This is Sergeant Romero.
Oh. You're here from missing persons, did you say?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I'm sure Juanita's just stepped out for a moment. If you'd care to wait here in the lobby.
We haven't got much time, ma'am. We'd appreciate it if you'd show us her room.
Certainly. I'll get to the please. That's 215. The elevator's right this way.
Thank you.
What seems to be the trouble? Some friend of Juanita's missing?
No, ma'am. Juanita.
Juanita? I don't understand.
Her mother's a little worried about her.
Down this way. Here we are. No wonder she didn't hear the phone. She's in the shower.
Yes, ma'am. Would you rap on the bathroom door and tell her we'd like to talk to her as soon as she's through?
We'll wait out here in the hall.
Certainly. Juanita? Juanita, there are two gentlemen here to see you. Juanita? Juanita? I'm coming in. It's Miss Waters. Sergeant?
Yeah?
There's no one in the shower.
It's running, isn't it?
Yes, I see a robe and towel all laid out.
We better take a look around.
Turn off the shower, leave it.
Yeah.
She must have left in a hurry.
Say, here's a fresh change of clothing on the bed.
Where's the closet, ma'am? This door?
Yes, that's right.
Closet full of clothes.
There's a couple pieces of luggage in there.
This isn't like Juanita. Funny, isn't it?
You say you saw her about an hour ago.
Yes, I did.
Coming in or going out?
Oh, coming in, I thought.
You have room service here?
Yes, we have a coffee shop downstairs.
The tray of food here on the table hasn't been touched. Coffee's still warm. Shut that radio off, will you, Ben?
Yeah.
Could she have gotten out of the building without you seeing her?
No, we didn't have a rear entrance.
You sure you didn't see her go out the front door just before we got here?
No. No, I did not.
How about her mail? She been picking it up lately?
I think so. We can check that down at the desk.
Yeah, here's some letters, postmarked Utah. Return address, Mrs. H. Lasky.
Mother. Let me see that one, Ben. This is one of your telephone message forms?
Let me see. Yes, that's right.
Says long distance call operator 2, Fountain Green, Utah. According to this slip, this call was received at 1:25 today.
Yeah, I see that, Sergeant.
Certainly.
Yes, that's his writing. Mrs. Tollefson took that call. She relieves me for lunch.
Well, do you know whether she returned this call?
Well, if she did, there'll be a record down at the desk.
Uh-huh. Now, you're positive that you saw Juanita Lasky an hour ago?
Yes, I'm sure. Just about an hour ago.
5 feet 7, 128 pounds, green eyes, red hair.
Red hair? Oh, no. Juanita's a blonde.
Her mother told us that Juanita Lasky had red hair. Now, we weren't too surprised. A lot of women change the color of their hair. It would make identification a little more difficult, but not impossible. We checked down at the desk. Juanita Lasky had picked up all her mail, but she had not answered that long-distance phone call to Fountain Green. The next step was to question some of the people in the Chelsea Hotel who knew Juanita. We tried room 217.
Yeah, oh, Gloria, these men are police officers. They want to ask you some questions. Oh, yes. Is it all right for them to... Yes, of course. This is an exception. Won't you come in?
Thank you.
What's your name, miss?
Gloria Edgerton.
You know Juanita Lasky?
Yes, I know her. She has the room right next door to me.
Have you seen her today?
No, I haven't. I've been out doing my Christmas shopping. Why?
We were trying to locate her, Miss Edgerton.
Wasn't she in her room? I thought I heard her shower going.
Yes, she did, but she wasn't in there. When was the last time you saw her?
Last night at dinner. We always eat dinner together.
Did she say anything that might lead you to believe that she was going anywhere today?
No, she said she might do some Christmas shopping today, so I suggested she go with me, and she agreed. She said she'd let me know this morning.
Did she?
No, she didn't. I just assumed that maybe she was sleeping in, so I went on alone. Are you sure she hasn't just stepped out? We don't know.
You're just going down to the corner. It's a little unusual to leave the shower running, the radio on, and let your lunch get cold.
Did she do that?
How long has Juanita had blonde hair?
Well, ever since I've known her, about 6 months. We moved in here together. We work at the same place.
Where's that, Miss Edgerton?
At the Paget building. We're elevator operators.
I see. Who's your immediate superior down there?
Darlene Kemp. She's chief starter.
Mm-hmm. You got that, Ben? Mm-hmm. She have many dates?
No, not too many. Juanita likes to go steady.
Who was her steady boyfriend?
Paul Matthews. He works in the Paget building, too. He's in the dental lab for Dr. Welty, 6th floor.
Well, is there anything else that you'd like to add that might help us find her?
Well, are you sure she's lost?
The Paget building is in the heart of downtown Los Angeles. It's a business and professional building. The cornerstone says erected in 1924, and it stands 12 stories high. The main entrance is on Hill Street.
Going up. That's all in the car, please. All right, Marion. Going up. Get back in the car, please.
Are you Darlene Camp?
Yes. Just a moment, please. Going up. All right, Dora. Can I help you?
I'm Sergeant Friday, Police Department. This is Sergeant Romero.
Yes, sir.
Juanita Lasky work for you?
Yes, she does. She's one of my operators.
When's the last time you saw her?
Anything wrong?
No, we're just trying to locate her.
You just missed her by 45 minutes. All right, Sylvia. She was in to pick up a check.
You know where she cashes the check?
Most of the girls cash it out at the bank on the corner. There's only one around here over on 8th.
You say about 45 minutes ago?
Yes, that's right.
Thanks very much, Miss Camp. Come on, Ben.
Going up. All right, Marion.
Yeah, the bank's not far from here.
That is kind of funny, isn't it?
What's that?
Her room, the shower, the radio, that lunch.
Sure pulled out in a hurry. What do you think?
I don't know what to figure. It's a new one on me.
She's alive, we know that.
She was 45 minutes ago, anyway.
Christmas is here. Santa Claus in his chimney.
Yeah.
No.
I beg your pardon, sir.
That's all right. Merry Christmas.
Same to you.
Here we are, Joe.
Guess we better check with the manager, huh? You the manager?
I'm the assistant manager. Can I help you? Police department. Yes, sir.
I'd like to find out if a check has been cashed here within the hour.
Yes, sir. And what's the party's name?
Lasky, Juanita, payroll check, Plaggett building.
Yes, I know, Miss Lasky. If you'll step behind the counter, I'll get the check.
Thank you.
If you'll just wait right here.
Okay, thanks.
Wonder why she stopped riding to her mother.
It's a good question. When we find her, we'll ask her.
Wonder if anything was wrong where she worked.
No, it didn't seem to be. We'll check back there when we finish here.
Yeah. That boyfriend, Paul Matthews, too.
Yeah, oh, here's our man.
Yes, here's the canceled check. I okayed it.
You sure it's the same girl?
Blonde girl, elevator operator in the Claggett building.
Was she alone?
Oh, I think so.
Did she appear normal?
No, she didn't seem to be as friendly as she usually is. Now, does she have an account here? She did have a small savings account here, but she closed it out about a month ago.
I see.
Well, here's our card. If you should happen to see her again, give us a call. I'll do that. Thank you very much. Entirely welcome. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. We went back to the Claggett building. Ben called the Chelsea Hotel from the phone booth in the lobby of the building. Miss Waters, the manager, was keeping a sharp lookout, but Juanita Lasky had not been heard from. Paul Matthews worked in the dental lab for a Dr. Welding. His office was number 637.
Yes, gentlemen, may I help you? We'd like to see Paul Matthews. I'm Paul Matthews. We're from Missing Persons Police Department. Sergeant Friday. I'm Sergeant Merrill.
Yes, sir. Do you know a Juanita Lasky?
Yes, sir.
When's the last time you saw her?
Saturday night. We went to a show. Is there something wrong?
We're trying to locate her. Do you see a lot of each other?
Yes, we do. I don't understand. Lasky disappeared from the hotel a couple hours ago. Thought maybe you might know where she is.
No, I don't. Today's her day off. Maybe she's out shopping. Has Juanita done anything wrong?
No, it's just that her mother hasn't heard from her for quite some time.
I can explain that. Juanita's an elevator operator here in the building. That's how I met her. They don't make much money, you know.
Yeah.
She was having a hard time making ends meet. She sends money home to her mother every month or so, and besides that, she's got to pay rent and buy clothes and eat. It's pretty rough.
She seemed despondent over all this?
No, I wouldn't say that, but she was kind of unhappy about not getting a raise.
Do you have any outside jobs?
No, sir, she didn't.
What kind of a girl is she?
What do you mean?
Cheerful, good-natured?
Oh, sure. Fine girl. We get along swell. I still don't get it.
Well, maybe there's nothing to it. Just a routine check.
I hope she's all right. When did all this come up?
A couple of hours ago. We might have to check back with you.
If I can help.
Okay. Thanks for the information.
Here's our card. If you hear from her, well, give us a ring.
You don't suppose anything's happened to her?
That's what we're trying to find out. Goodbye, Mr. Matthews.
When we got back to Central Division, we had a full description of Juanita Lasky teletyped to all outlying stations in the metropolitan area of Los Angeles. We also put out an APB. We double-checked the repeater file and the wanderer file. We made out a full report on our findings to date. During the next 8 days, we located a missing husband for a wife in Memphis, Tennessee. We picked up a runaway boy missing from his home in Reno, Nevada, and a 79-year-old veteran of the Spanish-American War who left his home in Bakersfield, California because he didn't like his daughter-in-law's cooking. But Juanita Lasky was still a mystery. For 8 days, we checked and rechecked all her known friends and habits. We went back over the course 12 times, but no trace. It was almost as if she had ceased to exist that day in the Chelsea Hotel. The letter and photograph from her mother had arrived, and we circulated it to cities all over the country. Her mother wrote that during the war, Juanita was a whack corporal. We put a tracer through to the War Department. That way, we'd have another photo and a full set of fingerprints.
Well, where do you want to start today?
I'll get it. Missing persons, Friday.
Joe, this is Spencer over in the morgue.
Yeah, Archie.
You still looking for that girl? What's her name? Ramona Lasky?
Juanita, yeah.
Just had one brought in. Looks like your girl to me.
The city morgue is located in the basement of the Hall of Justice on West Temple Street, across the street from the City Hall. A lot of missing persons cases end right here. Archie Spencer met us at the door.
Hi, Joe. How's the wife been?
Oh, fine, Archie.
Over here, Joe. Cooler 23. Give me a hand, huh?
You bet.
That's her, isn't it?
When's she going to be posted?
As soon as your fingerprint man gets here.
Yeah.
That's Ramona Lasky, isn't it?
Juanita.
Juanita, I mean.
No. No, that's not her, Archie.
You sure?
Yeah.
I was almost positive. Sure looks like this picture in your bulletin.
Yeah, she looks a lot like the picture, but it's not Juanita Lasky.
5'7", green eyes, blonde hair, about 130. How close can you get? And look at the face. You sure that's not her?
Yeah, I'm sure. Look at her hair, the roots.
Yeah.
They're blonde all the way down. They ought to be dark. Our girl's a bleached blonde.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Look at her right hand, index and middle fingers. Heavy nicotine stains. Our girl didn't smoke, Archie.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Guess I was wrong. That's not Ramona.
Juanita. Come on, Ben. That afternoon, we got another phone call from Fountain Green, Utah, Juanita Lasky's mother. We told her we hadn't found any trace of her daughter. It was a hard job. We had answered calls like this before, but maybe it was just the season of the year. Somehow, we felt that we had to find Juanita Lasky by Christmas. We covered every angle we could think of. We kept close watch on all incoming reports. We stayed in close contact with her friends and Miss Waters at the Chelsea Hotel. Regardless of the name on the incoming reports, we checked every set of fingerprints against those we had received on Juanita Lasky from the War Department. Still, no trace. December 23rd, we checked in for work at 8:30 a.m. Chief Ed Backstrand wanted to see us.
A little something on the Lasky girl. Might help you.
What is it, Gavin?
Man by the name of Willard Harris. Owns a bar out in Pomona. Phoned in this morning.
Yeah?
Found a woman's handbag left in the bar. Driver's license made out to Juanita Lasky.
Why'd you think to call that?
He's got a television set in this bar. Saw the Lasky girl's picture on Sergeant Rosenquist's broadcast last night.
How about the girl?
Says he can't place her. You better hop out and pick up that purse.
Willard Harris owned the Mission Trail Bar. It was in the bus terminal in the heart of Pomona. The Christmas traffic was heavy all the way out Garvey Boulevard. It was 10:45 when we pulled up in front of the bar. Willard Harris was inside taking a liquor inventory when we walked in.
How do you do? You, Mr. Harris? Yes, that's right. You fellas with General Liquor?
Los Angeles Police Department. My name's Friday. This is Sergeant Romero.
Oh, say, living over, boys. Yeah, I ain't called Los Angeles this morning.
We came right out.
Say, how about a little eye-opener? Got some fine Irish whiskey.
No, thanks, Mr. Harris.
How about your partner there? No, thank you. All right, boys. Guess you want that purse, huh?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Here you are. Just as I found it. I opened it up to get the owner's name, but that's all. Didn't touch a thing.
Okay. Thanks, Mr. Harris. You said that you didn't remember seeing the woman who left this.
No, I don't. Herb works with me here. He might have seen her, but he didn't. I asked him the night we found it.
How long ago did you find this purse?
Oh, better part of 2 weeks. No, a little closer to a week. Yeah, about 8 days ago. I usually hold something like this for 30 days. That's the law, you know.
Yeah.
But I saw that fellow on the television on that missing persons program. That's how come I called you, boys.
Well, thanks very much, Mr. Harris.
That's all, boys. Cold out this morning. Sure you don't want a little bit?
No, thanks, Mr. Harris. Goodbye. We checked the personnel at the bus terminal, but none of them seemed to recognize Juanita Lasky's photograph. We checked the contents of her purse, but we found nothing unusual. 4 $1 bills and some change and the normal things women carry. Since there was money in the bag, we felt sure that Juanita Lasky had lost the purse herself. That meant that she was alive 8 days ago, 2 days after she walked out of the Chelsea Hotel. It's the only print carried on a California driver's license. It matched the same print on the War Department record. It didn't prove anything except that all the evidence tied in and belonged to the girl we were looking for, Juanita Lasky. The next morning, December 24th, we checked in for work at 8:30. Morning, Ben.
All right, Joe, here's the date of the report. You want to check them?
There's a mess of them. Let's get at them. You look through any of them yet?
No, not yet. I figured I'd wait for you.
All right, I'll take half.
Got any shopping done?
No, you?
Done. Lunch almost.
Found some nice cards.
Be sure to send me one.
Yeah, I'll hand it to you in the morning.
Let's trade shaving lotions like we did last year.
If I get any.
You'll get some. My kid's got a bottle all picked out for you. It's called South Pool, for that pool.
Yeah.
He's only a kid.
You feel he won it?
Better than he gets older. Oh, you'll do. Tell him that, Friday, on the Lasky case.
Thanks, Holmes. Ben, listen to this.
Yeah?
Bureau of Criminal Investigation, Sacramento. Here's a kickback on our APB.
Yeah, what you say?
Reading your APB number 43 on 12/12/48. Our records disclose that Juanita Lasky applied for a position of civilian clerk at Marchfield, California, U.S. Army Air Base, using alias Gene Davis.
How about the fingerprint classification?
Yeah, let me find it. Yeah, FPC. Key 19, primary 32/32, inner over outer, final 15/17.
French check out. That's our girl, Joe.
The Sacramento report stated that Gene Davis had applied for government work at Marchfield, California. Well, a couple of things dropped into place. Her purse had been found in Pomona. That's right on the main highway from Los Angeles to Riverside. And the application for a job at the Army Air Base a few miles beyond Riverside. We put through a long-distance phone call, and they told us that Gene Davis was employed there as a civilian clerk, but failed to show up for work that morning.
Just seems like we run fresh out of luck every trip, doesn't it?
We get so close, and then she's gone again.
What you think she's on the go for?
If I could figure that, I could find her. I'll get it. Missing persons Friday. Yeah? We'll be right over. We didn't find her, but she's been found. Juanita Lasky just walked into the Chelsea Hotel. We went over to the Chelsea Hotel. Technically, our job was completed now. Juanita Lasky had been found. We went over to make out a routine report. The streets were pretty jammed with last-minute Christmas shoppers, so we walked the last block to the hotel.
What's your guess, Joe?
Let's ask her. Come on, let's go in.
That looks like her over by the desk there.
Yeah, pretty well memorized that face.
Sergeant, this is Juanita Lasky, Sergeant Friday and Sergeant Romero. Juanita.
How do you do, Miss Lasky?
How do you do? I'm sorry. I'm terribly sorry. Miss Waters told me.
You mind telling us? Where have you been?
Sergeant, I don't know. These last 12 days have been a complete loss to me. Miss Waters told me what happened. I went over to see my doctor. He said I have temporary amnesia. I have to have treatment.
I see. What's your doctor's name, Miss Lasky?
Dr. Rudner over on Crenshaw.
Well, we're glad you're okay. Kind of had us going there for a while.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Could I use your phone, Miss Waters?
Oh, certainly. Help yourself.
Thank you.
Long distance?
I'd like to place a person-to-person call to Mrs. Hannah Lasky, Fountain Green, Utah. That number is 14R2.
Fountain Green, Utah, 14R2.
That's right.
Your name and number, please.
Joe Friday, and this is Hempstead 8594.
Thank you. Rate operator. Fountain Green, Utah, route and night person rate from Los Angeles. DC Mount Pleasant, Salt Lake, night person 140. Through Salt Lake. Salt Lake, Mount Pleasant. Mount Pleasant, Fountain Green. Fountain Green. Fountain Green, 14R2. Mrs. Hannah Lasky, Los Angeles, California, calling. Thank you. Ringing operator.
You're listening to Chin Radio AM.
Hello, Mrs. Hannah Lasky, please. Los Angeles, California, calling.
Oh, yes. Hang on. I'll get her.
Waiting on your party, sir.
Thanks.
Getting through all right, Joe?
Yeah.
Good luck. Christmas Eve?
Yeah.
Hello?
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 Hello, Miss Lasky.
Yes?
Just a minute, Miss Lasky. Juanita,
Yes?
you're wanted on the phone.
Oh, who is it?
Just say hello. She'll take it from there. Let's go, Ben.
Hello? Yes? Hello, Mother.
Come on, Ben.
Yes, I'm all right. Mother, it's so good to hear your voice.
What's the deal with the fake name?
See you tomorrow, Joe. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
The story you have just heard is true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent. Upon further examination by competent medical authorities, Juanita Lasky was found to be suffering from periodic spells of amnesia. She was given treatment, and a complete cure was effected.
Yeah, right. What's the treatment?
You have just heard the 8th in a new series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet is furnished by the Los Angeles Police Department.
Tonight's program is dedicated to Corporal Grady A. Beecham of the 9th Precinct Metropolitan Police Force, Washington, D.C., who, on the night of December 2nd, 1948, gave his life so that yours might be more secure. Dragnet came to you from Los Angeles. This is NBC, the national broadcasting company.
You're listening to Chin Radio AM 1540, the voice of multicultural Toronto, bringing you the latest updates on COVID-19. Stay informed, stay safe, and stay tuned to Chin Radio AM 1540.
Toast Toasties, the Heat Good Cornflakes, is proud to present Gunsmoke.
Damn it.
Around Dodge City and in the territory on west, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with a U.S. Marshal and the smell of Gunsmoke.
The total GDP of its member states accounts for 13% of the global economy. President Xi Jinping said China would favorably consider joining the agreement at last.
Beijing. Round table.
The Chinese president has inspected Guizhou province ahead of the Spring Festival, or the Chinese Lunar New Year. Xi Jinping went to Qianxi County in Bijie, where he inspected a major tributary of the Wujiang River. He also visited a village in an ethnic Miao township and extended his New Year greetings to people of all ethnic groups across the country. The International Olympic Committee chief says Beijing is making history as the first city ever to host both the Summer and Winter Olympic Games. Thomas Bach praised the renovations and upgrades to existing venues that were used during the Summer Olympic Games in 2008. The GDP of its member states accounts for 13% of
what I was trying to hear.
Its contribution to GDP of its member states accounts for 13% of the global economy. President Xi Jinping said China would favorably consider joining the agreement at last year's APEC summit. Analysts suggest that the move could offer a huge opportunity for China's service industry, high-tech industry, and digital economy. With 1 million people expected to get the shots by the end of March.
Didn't work out so good up in Deadwood. Well, at least we didn't get shot. Now, things will go better here. I hope so. What kind of lawman they got here, I wonder? Well, we'll soon find out. Ought to be along any minute now. I sent word we'd like to have a talk right away at the hotel here. By the way, Carter, who's going to do the talking this time? I'll do it. It must be him. You let me handle this now, Douglas. Okay. Come in. My name's Matt Dillon. I'm Ben Corder, Marshal. This is my partner, Harry Duggan. Hello. Good night, Marshal. You asked me to come here. You said it was urgent. Oh, it is, Marshal, it is. You see, Duggan and me, we're business partners. And whenever we come to a new town, like Dodge here, we like to get to know whoever's running the place. That way we figure there won't be any misunderstanding later on. Well, what is your business, gentlemen? We're gamblers. What do you want of me? Dodge is an open town. We make money gambling, Marshal. Sometimes a lot of money. We just want you to know in advance that you'll get your share of it.
I'm a lawman, Corder, and as long as I am, there won't be any crooked games in Dodge.
Oh, no, Marshal, you know how sometimes a player will lose a little money and start a fuss over it, and then maybe even go to the law about it.
And when he does, he's usually been cheated. Before he gets to the law, there's another killing. Now, you can run your game, Corder, but you keep it straight or out you go. Both of you.
That's not friendly, Marshal.
You made one mistake, trying to bribe me. You make another and you're through in Dodge.
One of those hard-nosed marshals, huh?
You'll find out soon enough, mister. Good day, gentlemen.
You handled him great, Corder. Just great.
No, don't be a fool. He's no better than anybody else. And I got an idea we can persuade him yet.
Chester.
Yes, sir?
How's the prisoner?
Oh, he's all right, Mr. Dillon. Just sleeping off his drunk.
Well, it's late. I think I'll get out of here and go to bed. Don't forget to put the lamp out before you leave the office, Chester.
No, sir, I won't. You see anybody? You want a rifle?
No. Stay where you are. All right, you can crawl over now and put that lamp out, huh? But stay low.
Yes, sir.
He's through.
Ain't we going after him, Mr. Dillon?
He had a rifle, Chester, and he was in the alley just across the street. That's mighty poor shooting if he wanted to hit me.
What do you mean?
I think he was trying to scare me. Show me how they treat the law where he comes from.
Oh, them two gamblers, huh?
Yeah, maybe. But I can't be sure. Well, I'm going to take a rifle and go out the back way. I'll see you tomorrow, Chester.
Yes, sir.
Hello, Matt.
Good evening, Kitty.
John.
Thanks. It's crowded in here tonight.
I'll get you a drink.
No, not now, huh?
Chester was in earlier. He told me about your getting shot at last night.
Well, I didn't get hit anyway.
But you might have, especially a man with a rifle.
But, Kitty, I'll admit I don't like the idea of being ambushed. I prefer to do my fighting in the open.
Oh, Matt. Why do you have to fight at all? Why can't you live like other men?
Somebody has to enforce the law, Kitty.
Sure. Forget it, Matt. Any idea who was after you last night?
Well, it might have been one of those two men watching us from the bar over there. Maybe both of them.
Oh? Look like gamblers to me.
Yeah, they are. The one who's headed this way calls himself Ben Corder.
If there's gonna be trouble.
No, there won't be. Just sit still.
Evening, Marshal.
Hello.
Right, pretty girl.
Say what you have to say, Corder.
Sure do make it hard to be friends, Marshal. I just wanted to say that I heard you got shot at last night.
So?
Well, I'm sorry it happened, that's all. I sure don't envy a man who has to be a martyr. It's mighty dangerous. Besides, it usually don't pay very good.
Well, what do you think I ought to do about it, Corder? Quit?
No, that isn't necessary, Marshal. Why, if you were smart, you could stay right here and make more money and take less chances, too.
I didn't know for sure it was you, Corder. But I know it now. What do you mean? There's a stage out of Dodge in half an hour. You and Duggan are going to be on it.
Oh, no, we're opening our new game across the street tonight.
Now, take your gun, Corder.
Now, wait a minute, Marshal. You can't do that.
Yes, I can.
Oh, no, you won't.
All right, Duggan. I want your gun next.
Sure, Marshal. Sure.
Turn around and put your hands on the bar. All right, now go pick up your partner. You're riding the stage north tonight. Now get going, Duggan, and don't ever come back, either one of you. They got on the stage, all right. I was there to see them do it. And just before it pulled out, I unloaded their guns and tossed them into the floor inside. Then they left, and I forgot about them. I figured these two, like so many others I'd run out of Dodge, would keep going and make their trouble somewhere else. But a couple of weeks later, I found out I'd figured wrong. I was walking up Front Street one evening with Doc.
That Humboldt woman was in to see me again today, Nat.
Well, you're usually complaining about a shortage of patients, Doc.
I know, but this woman's not a patient. She's a suicide.
Oh, Doc, that might be said of anybody who comes to you.
Yeah? But, oh, no, I'm going to remember that, ain't I?
Mr. Dillon?
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. Oh, hello, Chester. Say, they're right inside the Albergans there, Mr. Dillon. I just saw them.
No? Who'd you see, Chester?
Them gamblers, Carter and Duggan, and they got somebody else with them, some stranger.
I don't know. I'll see you later, Doc.
Sure, Matt.
There they are, right down at the end of the bar there. All three of them.
Well, I'll see.
Here he is. Here he is, Toke. This is him. Wow. We're back, Marshal. And we brought a man with us to sort of look after our interests. You won't buffalo him so easy.
Hello, Toke.
You really Marshal here?
Yeah? Why didn't they tell you?
I didn't mention no name. What are you two talking about? What is this?
Toke Marlin and I are old friends, Carter. We worked and rode a long time together. We went through quite a lot, didn't we, Toke?
Too much. Remember?
Yeah, I remember. You've sold your gun to these two. Is that right?
That's right.
So you're here to kill me?
Yeah. I'm here to kill you.
Say, how are morning appetites at your house? If they're pretty drowsy, here's a real good way to wake 'em up. Set a bowl full of Post Toasties, the heap good cornflakes, at everybody's place. Just watch your folks take notice when they see how crisp Post Toasties are. And wait till they taste that sweet kernel corn flavor toasted in. Bet your whole tribe will agree with you. Post Toasties are the best thing that's happened to corn since the Indians discovered it. And here's a thought if you'd like to make a good thing even better. Try topping Post Toasties with your favorite fruit. You'll find that's a mighty good way to start the day. Fact is, it's a downright delicious way. So next time you shop, be sure to ask for Post Toasties. They're the heap good cornflakes. You'll see.
Post Toasties heap good cornflakes. The best thing that's happened to corn since the Indians discovered it. Heap good cornflakes. Post Toasties heap good cornflakes.
Now back to Gunsmoke.
It was a bad feeling to meet Toke Marlin again after some 15 years. And to have him standing at the bar of the Elephraganza, hired by a couple of crooked gamblers to kill me. Took and I had run horses together over in New Mexico. Until the night we rode into Silver City and got taken by a drunken mob and beaten half to death. It didn't matter who they were after or why. The next day, when they found out that we weren't the men they wanted, it was too late. Something had gone wrong inside Toke. And as soon as he was able, he rode off without a word. I never saw him again. Until now.
How long you been a marshal?
Long time, Toke.
I never figured lawman for much.
I want to talk to you, Toke. Come on over to the table.
Oh, no, you don't, Marshal.
Shut up,
No, you...
Porter. Come on, Toke. Sit down. Is this your profession now? Shooting people?
Oh, I gamble a little.
Why do you do it, Toke?
I don't like people much. Not after what happened in Silver City.
You recovered from that beating? We both did. We were young. That was a long time ago.
Maybe my memory is better than yours.
No, that isn't it. We both changed after that, Toke. We sure did, but we changed in different ways. You hate everybody. I just hate mobs. I guess that's one reason I became a lawman.
There was a lawman helping them that night in Silver City. He was the sheriff.
There are good sheriffs and bad.
Like marshals.
I suppose.
It's kind of too bad you're a marshal, Matt.
You're going to go through with this anyway, is that it?
I'll never back off from a fight.
What if I won't fight you?
You don't have to. I get paid anyway. But you'll have to leave Dodge.
Do you think I'll do that?
No, but I'll give you 24 hours to think it over anyway.
All right. That gives you 24 hours, too.
I don't change. Talk's nothing to me.
Money is, huh?
It adds to the pleasure.
You'd enjoy shooting me?
You ain't Matt Dillon. You're a U.S. Marshal.
Oh, Toke, you're stupid. You don't think.
Maybe, but I'm a pretty good gunman.
Yeah, sure.
Matt, you can let Corder and Duggan run their game here, or you can quit.
It's a crooked game. There'd be fights. Men would die. No, I got a job, too, Toke.
24 hours, Marshal.
Okay. 24 hours.
Hello, Matt. Chester, Doc.
Doc.
You're looking mighty glum today, Matt.
Am I?
You should be.
Why?
Well, I've been over to the Dodge House. Mr. Reisling's down with the gout again. And there's a lot of talk, Matt. I know you must have your reasons, but people are sure wondering what those two gamblers are doing back in town again.
Well, that'll all be settled tonight, Doc.
Well, I'm glad to hear it.
Don't go to bed early, huh? We might need you.
Hmm? A fight, man? Why, you didn't have any trouble with him before. Why, you... Ooh, that other fella they brought with him.
Yeah, that one.
Ain't there no way at all to stop him, Mr. Dillon?
I've been trying to think, Chester.
If there's anything in this world I hate, it's a paid gunman. I got no use for a man that can be bought for money.
Money's important to Toke, but I don't see how... You know where Toke is now?
Well, he was in the Texas Trail a little while ago.
Good. I'll be back later. Hello, Toke.
Well, it's Marshal Dillon. Sit down, Marshal. You know, Miss Kitty here.
Hello, Matt.
Kitty.
You've been talking about you and me and Kitty. Been talking about me, too.
Well, then I'm not interrupting because I'd like to talk about you.
Go right ahead, but don't stay too long. She's an awful pretty girl, Matt.
Maybe I better leave.
No, you stay right where you are. Anything the marshal's got to say, we can all hear. You leave, I'll leave.
It's up to you, man.
It's all right, Kitty Stick. Dope. What are they paying you to get rid of me?
$700.
What if I give you $700?
But to shoot them?
You don't care who you killed, do you?
Don't matter much.
No. All right, I'll give you $700 to clear out of here and forget this whole business.
You have changed, Matt. You sure never were a coward in the old days.
Is that what you think?
But so does Kitty, don't you, Kitty?
Don't tell me what I think, mister.
She's full of fire, Matt. She deserves a real man.
Ah.
No, I think I'll get my money from Corder and Duggan. I don't want to leave Dodge. Not till Kitty and me get a little better acquainted anyway.
Now I am leaving.
You're no good, Toke. You're really no good at all anymore.
Wait till 8 o'clock, Marshal. We'll see about it then.
Sure.
I saw it, Mr. Dillon. I was just coming for you. It was Toke Moreland. He just shot a man at the money table back there. But the other fellow drawed first.
Okay, Chester. Keep an eye on Corder and Duggan.
Yes, sir.
Evening, Marshal. You got here just in time.
Did you kill that man, Toke?
I killed him.
Why?
He objected to the deal, tried to pull a gun. It was self-defense. But that don't matter none.
A crooked deal always leads to killing. That's why I'm running your friends out of Dodge.
You ain't running us out of Dodge, Marshal. Go on, Toke, show him.
I told you once, Corder, I'll run this play. Keep out of it.
Well, sure, Toke, sure. I didn't mean nothing.
Shut up! I guess you ain't a coward after all, Matt.
Then get out of Dodge. Take them with you.
No. I'm going to try to kill me another lawman first.
Okay, Toke. So long.
So long, Marshal. I'm hurt, Matt. Bad.
Yeah.
You hit me both times.
I had to, Toke.
Too late to do anything about it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's too late.
By heaven, I wish I had last week back again, Matt. Here it is.
Corder. Duggan. Get out of here. Any way you can, but fast.
Sure.
And if you come back with another gunman, I won't wait to shoot him. Now get away from me.
In just a moment, we'll tell you about next week's adventure on Gunsmoke. Say, Mother, want to see your small fry eat a better breakfast than ever? Well, may I suggest that you dish them up some sugar crinkles to start with? Sugar crinkles, you know, make breakfast more fun than a circus. Sugar Crinkles is the sugar rice treat that's just right sweet.
You fucking serious?
It's high time to forget the sugar-coated cereals that seem too sweet to you and those others that don't seem sweet enough to the kids. Just pour out crisp, golden Sugar Crinkles and see how just right sweet a sugar-coated cereal can be. Just right sweet. Be sure to get several packages of Sugar Crinkles, because they're great for snacks, too. Kids love them that way. Kids love them anyway. Try Sugar Crinkles, and you will, too.
For your breakfast or a snack, you love Sugar Crinkles. Sugar Crinkles, happy feet. Sugar ice treat that's just right sweet.
With milk for the breakfast joy.
And the snack from the pack, oh boy! Can't be beat, just right sweet. Sugar Crinkles.
Oh, bastard.
Gunsmoke, under the direction of Norman MacDonald, stars William Conrad as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal. Tonight's story was specially written for Gunsmoke by John Meston, with music composed and conducted by Rex Corey. Featured in the cast were John Daner, Harry Bartell, and Lawrence Dobkin. Marley Bear is Chester, Howard McNear is Doc, and Georgia Ellis is Kitty. Ken Peters speaking. Join us again next week as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal, meets two brothers who want to stop his fight to bring law and order out of the wild violence of the West in Gunsmoke. Listen next week at this time when Gunsmoke will be brought to you by Sugar Crinkles, the sugar rice treat that's just right sweet.
Sanka Coffee and Instant Sanka, the two delicious coffees that let you sleep, bring you Sanka Salutes. And this is Win Elliott transcribed, saluting our people of the week, the everyday people who help make America an even nicer place in which to live. Your name is Private William Auld of Hyde Park, New York. And though you're home now from Korea, a part of you remains there in the heart and soul of a gentle Korean lad whom you knew only as Kim. You, Private Auld, hardly noticed this young war waif who peeled potatoes and sometimes scrubbed pots at your company mess. But then there was something you did notice. Whenever this scullery boy had time, he was poring over a book, an American book on engineering. Kim had a dream. Korea needed rebuilding, the roads, the bridges, the towns, and he wanted to be a part of it. Though he hadn't a penny, he wanted to scrape up enough money to go to school and to become a civil engineer. And not long after that, you, Private Auld, were ready to go home to America, where the schools are free and the bridges have been built. But you had one beautiful goodbye gift for your little friend Kim. You found a school for him, and you paid the tuition. Thank you, Private Auld, for having been in Korea in the first place, for having understood one little boy's yearnings, for having helped. And in his name, we proudly send you, Private William Auld, this Sanka salute. Say, do you have any idea of what an American ambassador looks like? What do you figure? A fellow in striped pants, a top hat, and maybe a Harvard accent? Well, my favorite American ambassador this week is a New York City taxi cab driver, and his name is Joe Burns. Ambassador Joseph Burns, that is. And what kind of an ambassador? We'll take it from the State Department. He's a real 14-carat American ambassador of goodwill. You see, last week, Joe Burns had two young tourists from Venezuela in his cab. They left $280 behind them by mistake. But Joe Burns found them, and he returned the money and figured that was that. But it wasn't. The story became known down in Venezuela, where some people don't like our country, and where we're sometimes accused of being money grabbers who wouldn't give the other fellow a break. And one newspaper down there was so impressed by Joe Burns' kind deed that, well, they made him a page-one story. And the U.S. Embassy was so grateful to Joe Burns that a letter was sent to him, thanking him for putting our country in the good light it deserves. So fancy hats off to Cabby Joe Burns, the finest ambassador of them all, and to him with full protocol, this gala Sanka salute. I'll be back in a moment with a story about the latest collegiate style, a brass beanie. But first, folks, if I say to you, here is a coffee with a full, rich-bodied flavor, and here's a coffee that's easy to make, and here's a coffee that lets you sleep, Well, you might think I'm talking about 3 different coffees, but I'm not. I'm talking about one coffee, the new instant Sanka coffee, the only coffee in all the world that gives you all 3 of those advantages. Just taste instant Sanka, made hot and black and good and strong, and you'll see at once that it's all coffee with the delicious extra rich flavor you want. It's a cinch to make instant Sanka, too, whether you're making 1 cup or a dozen.
What the fuck?
And of course, instant Sanka lets you sleep because 97% of the sleep-disturbing caffeine has been removed. So drink as much as you want, and it won't keep you awake. Oh, and look for instant Sanka in the new economy size jar, and you'll save money. If your grocer hasn't already got it, he'll have it soon. So drink instant Sanka, the only coffee that combines extra rich flavor with instant ease and lets you sleep. Now, here's a memo to the upperclassmen at St. Ambrose College out in Iowa. Go easy on one of the freshmen who's around the campus now wearing one of those beanie caps, fellas. He's a freshman named Vandy Farrell. You see, gentlemen, until freshman Farrell put on a beanie, he wore the hat of a regular Army major. And I don't know how you feel, but I think that 58-year-old freshman Farrell must be quite a guy to begin his Army retirement in this style. So I'll take my hat off to him with this Sanka salute. And I'll be back next week when Sanka Coffee and Instant Sanka, both delicious and both caffeine-free, will again present Sanka salutes. In the meantime, this is Win Elliott suggesting you try Sanka. You love it, and you'll sleep.
This is the CBS Radio Network. You're listening to Chin Radio AM 1540, the voice of multicultural Toronto, bringing you the latest updates on COVID-19. Stay informed, stay safe, and stay tuned to Chin Radio AM 1540.
The Radio Memories Network is brought to you in part by Liberated Syndication, podcast publishing made easy, libsyn.com. That's LIBSYN.com. The Radio Memories Network welcomes you to the earliest days of radio. All this is still ours today through the Radio Memories Network.
Nullification of such sort of criticism.
Great. And also to level the playing field, we know that China is pushing forward mixed ownership reform among SOEs. How's that been playing out for them?
Well,
don't do it.
Because private companies are known to be more efficient, and they have been playing a more and more important role in providing job opportunities, innovation, and export contribution, etc. So, and while SOEs are stable and they enjoy a number of preferential treatments from the government policy and also state-owned banks in terms of the loans, so therefore there can be quite a synergy over there. However, the difficulty lies on 2 dimensions. One is that is the state-owned enterprise invading into the private areas by by taking advantage of their political rank in the marketplace. So that needs to be avoided. And the other is that what is really the level of governance? So really decision makings are taking place based on the shareholding position or based on the bureaucratic ranking. So where the private contributors, even though they hold certain equity position, they do not have a say. So that's a problem. So therefore, governance is the most critical part. And after that, transparency and accountability will be taken into consideration.
Governance is still the most important element in this. And also we know that SOEs, they are now increasing their investment in private companies. What will this blending of state and non-state capital do for China's economy, especially now because we're still not out of the woods from a public health crisis and amid all the uncertainties in global trade and relations?
So right now, one is because the legacy of the planned economy is still there. And the other is that we are facing a lot more uncertainties, not only because of the coronavirus, but also because of the volatility of the global economy. So there's a good reason for China to maintain a strong and bigger state-owned enterprises. But the key is that whether they are really playing the market role when they are really the market players. So that's very important. The other is that how they can be channeled to support the bigger and long-range investment instead of fighting for the same type of market share with private firms. So that's something very important. And then also how to really increase their transparency, particularly when those portion of SOEs that are being public listed. So that's also very important. And investors and even consumers are really keen to know that whether they have really cut off the line between government order versus their business decision. So certain confidence needs to be further enhanced into investors and consumers by transparency and also by sound governance.
Great stuff. Thank you very much for your insights. That's Mr. Liu Baocheng from UIBE. Switching gears to China's auto industry, where car sales continue to recover last month. The latest data from the China Association of Automobile Manufacturers expects the auto sector to see a total sale of 2.5 million vehicles in January. That's an increase of 32% from last year. Sales of passenger vehicles are set to rise 30% to 2 million units, while commercial vehicle sales, including trucks and buses, are estimated to expand over 50%. Well, the global aftershocks of the coronavirus pandemic has had a huge impact on the auto industry, with sales tanking and factories forced to shut. Juliet Mann looks at how the UK and China's automotive sector are driving growth in a challenging market.
While the coronavirus hammered UK car manufacturing and demand, sales in China are recovering.
As far as global demand is concerned, of course, China is the one that came out of this first, and today China would represent about 20% of our global sales. So it is very, very significant. The Bentley brand fits very well with our Chinese customers.
The automotive sector already had some loose wheels. Technological change, green challenges, a shift in ideas about mobility, and in the UK, Brexit. 4 out of 5 cars made in Britain are exported, half to the EU. So striking a deal with Brussels is key to the car industry here. But as Britain's third biggest car export destination after the EU and the United States, China is an important market with big potential. That's why many UK car manufacturers have set up shop in China too.
China is the biggest car market in the world, and one of the biggest markets for the premium and luxury brands in the UK in particular. So if you think of Rolls-Royce, Bentley, companies like Jaguar Land Rover, this is a hugely important market for them. Jaguar Land Rover might sell only 20% of its cars in China, but maybe 50% of its profit comes from China. So it's absolutely critical to the firm that the Chinese market recovers. So the UK and China are really interlinked when it comes to the automotive industry.
Right. So
there you go. I love the fact that the Mank movie, the best screenplay nomination is for Jack Fincher, who happens to be David Fincher's father, who died in 2003. So David's been sitting on his dad's script, and this was the opportune time, because I don't think this would be a movie people would go to the theaters to see. Not a lot of people take the Golden Globes that seriously. The nominees and the winners are determined by the Hollywood Foreign Press Association. It's like 82 people you've never heard of. And they're known to be, well, even Ricky Gervais has said when he's hosted the Golden Globes, they're known to be prone to a bribe or two. Oh. They used to have an award for Best Newcomer, Best Rising Star. And I remember when Pia Zadora won it. Okay. You might not remember her. No. Sort of a bit actress. She was married to a billionaire, and he basically bought the award for her. So strong. What else we got here? Streaming services did very well, obviously. HBO Max, which we still can't get in Canada. Disney Plus. The Crown got 6 nominations, including Best Series, Drama, and Acting nods. I quite enjoyed this season of The Crown. Trial of the Chicago 7. I got to see that. That's Aaron Sorkin's movie. Sacha Baron Cohen's in it. It's about the...
What is going on?
1943, featuring Louis Armstrong. The second, on the 15th of January of 1950, how Jack and...
Nothing? No, I don't see the name here. I'm sure it was probably nominated. Oh, Borat 2 was nominated.
Doctor. Rhea says they can't afford it.
We just try to walk it out or like try to find home remedies to get better.
State officials have waffled about who to prioritize next for a vaccine. Essential workers like these, farm workers, teachers, and emergency responders, or elderly people, 65 and up. For now, they decided not to decide. They prioritized them all. That's at least 12 million people. With limited vaccine supplies, it's falling to the state's 58 counties to make the final decisions on exactly who, when, and how. Like, how do you get vaccines that need to be stored at minus 94 degrees out to rural farm workers? We know that once you take it out of the deep freeze, it's good for 5 days. Kim Sarawatari is the director of public health for Riverside County. They're organizing mobile clinics. So take a smaller amount, take it out to those farm-working communities, administer everything we have, get more, and take it out and keep going until we get everybody covered. But smaller counties with less money may find this daunting, even impractical. Dr. Eric Sergienko is the public health officer in Mariposa County, the home of Yosemite. To him, it doesn't make sense to vaccinate farm workers first because the current vaccines require 2 doses.
If it were just a single shot, I think we would be able to wrangle with logistics fairly easily. But seeing as we have to find that person either 21 days or 28 days later, that adds a layer of complexity.
Farm workers are mobile and often undocumented. They could be working or living in a different place 1 month later.
Nothing to do with it. You ain't got health insurance. What documents you need if you're paying cash?
Could be to wait.
Don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good.
Sergienko is weighing other concerns too. His county has just 1 hospital and no ICU.
If we have someone who's really sick who needs an ICU bed, they get flown or get an ambulance ride to a tertiary care facility either in Fresno or Modesto.
And hospitals there have been overwhelmed in a recent surge. To him, way remains closed for an ongoing police investigation. The Love You by Shoppers Drug Mart program is committed to advancing women's health. Visit shoppersdrugmart.ca/loveyou to learn with Global News Radio 640 Toronto, Chopper Traffic.
Fresco's big birthday bargains are here, just in time for the big game. Until Wednesday, save $8 on Jane's Ultimate Frozen Chicken Wings. Just $6.99 for 900 grams. Our birthday, your bargains. Fresco, lowering food prices. See flyer or fresco.com for details.
Every day, connect